Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And folks, we are hours away from the official release of Forza Horizon 5, currently the best reviewed game of 2021. It is a game that has captivated everyone. I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on, whether you're a Switch gamer, a PlayStation 5 gamer, or a diehard Xbox gamer, you are talking about this game, whether you're excited to play it, whether you've been playing it, whether you've been blessed like myself to have reviewed it, which was an incredible opportunity that Microsoft PR did for me and for the channel. I cannot thank them enough. And obviously, you're going to see footage of it, and you're going to see me lose a bunch of races because I was playing on the difficulty above average, and yeah, it's hard, man. I mean, they kept smoking me. I came in fifth, sixth, fourth, and I could not win a race. But you're going to see that in 1080p because obviously that's what this software allows. Still looks dope. Been taking pictures. Got a chance, folks, and I don't want to shout out GameStop for doing it wrong, but folks, I got my controller early. It came in on Saturday when it wasn't supposed, and it is. You see this? This is like a nice tire feel.
Yeah, I get mine tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm jealous.
I have, and I don't. I listen. A lot of people reached out to me, DMs on Twitter. Hey, Boom, that was nice of Microsoft to send you a controller. And of course, I responded, they actually didn't. I haven't actually received any controllers from Microsoft. And if you're listening, Microsoft PR, yes, I would like to get some controllers because I freaking buy them all. But no, this one this one I bought from GameStop, and they just happened to send it. I got the notification. I was like, wow, what is this? I was expecting something else, and there it was. It's gorgeous. It feels really nice. And like a big nerd, I've been using it playing Forza. So listen, let's get into the obviously the introductions, and then we're going to get into a Forza topic that literally was made and built while we were in the green room. I have obviously I write these shows. We were going to go in a different direction, and I just wanted to keep Forza in the part of the conversation to open the show. And then of course we are going to back end the show with some potential tin foil hat wearing theories from Asante and Everborn regarding how badly Crystal Dynamics was thrown under the Quinjet by Square Enix's president. And we have those quotes. We're going to read about it. And we're also going to talk about what that actually means for them becoming a part of Xbox Game Studios. Has that already happened?
Sunny in speculation.
It certainly is, and it's cotton candy on every corner. But listen, let's get into our guest here. Basically he's a part of the show. He's just not officially a part of the show because you know what? He's been here so many times. He has a key. He comes in the front door, not the back. Please welcome One Bad Mother from Xbox Era. What's up, brother? Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Boom. I always appreciate being here, and I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, I just let myself in. I already made myself a sandwich, but I just figured I'm at home and you wouldn't mind. Boom, I do have to call out. I think you did forget something. When you're talking about all the different groups that Forza applies to, we really didn't talk about the review bomber group. So obviously there's a little something for everybody.
There really is. Yeah. Look, I'll say this. Talking about review bomber groups, please, he's not here yet. He's running a little behind. If you're not following the middle-aged game guy on Twitter, folks, you are missing out. He just did a video that I had to watch multiple times. It's over, I believe it's like 500,000 views. It's just so typical. It is just
that video had me in literal tears.
It literally, my gut was hurting from laughing so hard. It's just, he is just the fact that he's a part of the show, I think I'm going to have to get his autograph, honestly, because he's a rising star. But listen, OBM, thank you so much for being here, brother. And great work with you guys. The coverage that came out of Xbox Era. with the review was fantastic. Very, very well done.
Yeah,
very
Jesse
well
did a
scored.
very
Yeah.
thorough job.
Yeah, I actually watched the video twice. I loved his take on it. It was very, very relaxed way he talked about it, and everything he said. I reiterated. If you watch both of our videos, I was like, wow, we're kind of on the same level, because I had dropped mine. I believe it was 3:15 in the morning. I don't remember exactly when errors dropped, but I did it right at the embargo. But there were so many fantastic videos done. But the guy, you said his name is Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. Yep.
Yeah, he did a absolutely fantastic job. Love what you guys loved his thoughts, and just love the coverage that the site has been doing. So you guys, congratulations to you, Nick, John, and so many of the team that works there. But let's welcome in next the best beard in the business. And here's someone that has been, according to Keisante, quote unquote, slaying fools on the interwebs with his battle axe. Please welcome the Wandering Dutch. What's up, brother? How the heck are you? And how are those slaying escapades lately? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. There you go. Now we hear you.
There we go. Much better. It's been a lot of quiet people over the last few days, and
it certainly has been quiet.
Something to do with the amount of screenshots I've been posting, and
Dude,
I can't really pick faults.
I don't know how long you actually take to make those.
Wild.
I mean, they are brilliant, dude. Really.
After
brilliant.
the third retweet from Greenberg, we knew you were official. It's over now. It's like he's following you for your next screenshots. Seriously, he keeps
you can't even
stuff.
talk to his beard anymore. Like, his beard has a publicist.
It's insane. No, I take a long time on it, to be fair, but a lot of people have reached out and asked for tips on like in-game photography and things like that, which is really cool. So I try and help them as much as I can. And obviously I've shared my settings probably 30, 40 times now with people. But yeah, it's absolutely, I can't wait to start just talking about this game with people in the chat and seeing what everybody else thinks who's had a chance to play it, or will get a chance tomorrow. When it officially launches for everybody. But what a game. Without saying, I mean, in such simple terms, it is my joint game of the year with Psychonauts 2.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a lot of people's game of the year, to be honest with you. I think there is really a lot here. And I we were all talking in the green room on, the leaps and bounds, how much it's advanced since 4. And frankly, it is, I actually can't, as many hours as I've put, and I think I'm a little over 50 now. I can't put a finger on where it went from just being another Forza game to being almost an obsession for me personally. Like, I can't stop playing this game. I don't want to play anything else.
Yeah.
Even if I can get 15, 20 minutes and do a race, or potentially lose a race, because that's what I've been doing. You'll see I'm 6th place in this one, which is awful. No matter what you do in the game, there you are advancing in one way or another. And I think that hook that they grab you, where you can constantly race against your friends, go online, if you want to just be, single player and just, like for me, like I have 517 of the roads out of 578. I'm going to try and finish it off tonight. I just unlocked my 80th car. I cannot wait to keep playing. But listen, let's continue with the introductions. Next up, Keisante, who secretly, he will never admit this, but I took full blame. He blames me for making him go out and buy this game because he was gonna wait, and then we saw the tweets. What's up, brother? How are you?
You deserve it, because you made me get Guardians of the Galaxy, K. So I feel.
And you should be very thankful for that.
That's a great game.
You should be thankful for that. So there you go. You're welcome. I'm good. How you guys doing today? It's fun being here. So yeah, I had a good time. Like, I was a little bit thrown under the bus as far as the FOMO got me, but it's fine. Pro tip: Xbox what do you call it? Reward points can always come in clutch when you don't want to spend cash. So
They sure
that
do.
that $45 did not come out of my pocket, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yes, that was fun. So yes, welcome everybody. It's fun to be here. As we want to do on a nice Monday night. I'm looking forward to getting into this and all the awesome Forza conversations that will be had. If you see my head lifted a little high, tell me to stop because I'm playing Forza. Forget me.
Listen, that's okay, man. You can play and talk at the same time. It's funny.
We stole my monitor setup.
Oh,
He
wow.
put the gaming.
Oh yeah,
piece at the
I
top
came to
and the
his
work
house
one
and
at the
stole
bottom.
it. That's right.
It's
Yes.
funny you say that because back in the days, like folks, I'm old, right? The way I had a setup, because obviously I still live with my parents. I was growing up. My brother and I, Neo Mental, we had gone to, oh my God, I don't remember what the store was. I think it was Caldor's over here in the Bronx. And we got the 27-inch TVs the tube TVs. You can imagine how heavy those were.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys remember, there was a video game TV called the GX TV. And it was a 13-inch monitor that closed. And when it folded open, it was the speakers on the left and right sides. So what I wind up doing, because back then that was during the Saturn era, I was a huge fighting game fan. I imported everything. I had the 27-inch TV, and I had a dual. I got like something for it to hang from the ceiling. It was like an arcade in my house. Everyone used to come over. It was so dope, and I still wish I had that TV, man. Oh my God, the GX TV. Look it up. It was way ahead of its time, but. Before you get off, this show's already off the rails, but let's welcome in Everborn Saga. And I was on the serious note, and I know we usually save this for the end, but I have to acknowledge my utmost respect and congratulations. He just launched his Kickstarter, and they have already hit the goal. I'm a part of that. I'm always going to be a part of it, but congratulations, brother. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you brought that up off the top because I wanted to say, I'm in the Twitter streets a lot, right? I'm in the drama spaces, right? And I will say that the support for this campaign has been the most bipartisan thing I've ever seen on Twitter, right? Like PlayStation guys, even that I argue with online, Xbox guys alike. So it just made me realize like we all fight each other, but that's what families do. But when it comes time to support, everybody came out to support, and the support is going strong. We hit the goal in the first 24 hours.
Awesome.
And I did not make a big announcement about it because I found out that my wife wanted to be the one that took me over the top. So when she saw we were like $100 away, she supported it. So now I had to wait until the rest of some more pledges came in. But now we're officially over the top, not including my wife's big present to me. Thank you. But I'm still going to mail her a copy of the book to the house just because it all needs to be above board. So
I love
but I really want to thank everybody and yeah, CK Asante put a link to it in the chat. We're still going. There are stretch goals. So now the next thing we're moving towards is the first stretch goal. And what that will do is everyone that sort of supported like the Theros or the loyalty tier, they will get upgraded to a hardcover edition at no extra cost for Prince of Arcadia Ultimate Edition Book 2. So that's the next thing we're trying to move to, and we're just trying to move the thing forward. So really right now, this is all about kind of brand awareness for us right now. So if you could spread the word, and like I said, we try to do the best quality things you can find out there. And when I say best quality, I try to compare the artwork and everything that we do to the mainstay, like I don't even look at it as an indie book in terms of quality. We try to, at least that's what we're attempting to be something that you would think was backed by a big billion-dollar corporation. So, and that's all because of you guys. And I really, really appreciate all your help. But we're going to keep going. We got 28 days left. Let's see how far we can take this thing. And yeah, if you could share it out, or if you want to support, we got a lot of good things going on there. So thank you, everybody. And I'm ready to talk about
people.
Yes,
come on now.
Get the book.
I was going to say real quick, get the book. When the Netflix show comes out, you'll have the book and you'll see this it becomes valuable, because it will come. I'm telling you now, if you look at the trailer, that Netflix movie is going to come. I'm sure
every copy of the book goes out with personally signed by me, and I also spray my cologne in it, so you could get my
you get the must. That's
a true man right there.
But I am ready to talk about these topics tonight. Enough about me. But we do need to get more likes in here, because we got 200 people watching and only 64 likes. So that's the real goal. Hit the like button. And yeah, let's just talk about, Crystal Dynamics, maybe.
We're definitely we're gonna get into that for sure. First of all, let's welcome in the star. And actually, I'm sorry, sir, I don't have your water that is 34.7 degrees ready for you, because I'm gonna fire my assistant. That video that you did.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yes.
Yes, we sent Mag as a triple agent into.
He is the Unicorn Master.
What
is it? Unicorn Master
420. Pony Master 420.
Yes. And he comes and gives us the inside look at what's going on behind the walls of the Horse Foundation.
Great stuff as always, Mag. Welcome back, brother. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry I was late again, guys. Work is something the last month or so, but it's going to be going on for about another week. And then I can finally get my normal schedule back, because, everybody was getting government grants and now nobody wants to go back to work. So the mag is working for everybody now. But anyways, guys, I know we got some great topics tonight. We got a great show tonight. And I just want to throw another little side note before we get started. If you haven't listened to the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturdays, it's a great show. And let me tell you something. Mark it on your calendars, folks. Everything Everborn said, I agreed with 100%. And it has never happened before. It may never happen again, but it happened on Saturday. I almost fell in the shower. But anyhow,
especially when I was the Batman talk that I had.
Well, let's not talk about the Batman talk, but everything else. But anyways, guys, we got a great show tonight. As always, thank you guys for checking us out, and let's get right into these topics.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to open up with a topic that was birthed, if you will, in the green room. And of course, we're going to be talking about Forza Horizon 5, and the reason why I wanted to bring it into a conversation, the reason why it became a topic on tonight's show, because obviously I write these shows in advance, was because there is a lot of talk that I have seen in my DMs. A lot of people who checked out my video, which thank you so much for I got some of the nicest comments. I mean, that video took 9 hours to produce. I obviously do that myself. The script took 3.5 hours to write. And I wrote that a couple of days before I recorded on last Wednesday. I started writing that over the weekend. And then as I was doing that video, there was a couple of things that I missed that I had to rewrite as I was doing it. And I tell you, by the time it was all said and done, it was at least a 12-hour production time from writing to finished product. And the comments go a long way, folks. You don't understand when you read. People are just really excited, not just for the game, but the way that I did the review. It means a lot to me. So, with that said, a lot of people that were writing in about the review that I did, which I'm going to re-release tomorrow. So if you missed it, obviously it's going to coincide with the official release tomorrow of the game. Is people want to see this game be in the game of the year conversation at the end of the year. So what am I talking about? Am I talking about IGN's game of the year, or GameSpot, or Xbox Errors, or any of the other sites like VGC? No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is the Game Awards themselves, run by Geoff Keighley. And we were all in agreement that a game is a game, right? And I think it was Wandering Dutch that said it's called the Game Awards, meaning that this should be a game that is in that conversation, not for best racing sim, not for best racing or sports title, game of the year. And if this game remains the highest reviewed game of the year, it almost cements its place there. I don't care that you don't have two legs and you're walking around and you're riding a horse and you're doing RPG elements, because you're doing that on 4 tires here. Plenty of RPG elements, plenty of story, plenty of cars to unlock. If you want to consider cars to horses, this game is a masterpiece. It is the best racer ever released. What Playground Games has done is going to be talked about for years. And I'll say this, and I've said this before, I almost feel bad for them because I don't know how they top this in 2 or 3 years. I just don't know how they make this any better. I do want to start with our guest, One Bad Mother. Hey, OBM, we were talking. I thought it was a great way. And again, I love how natural the conversation was, and it was so well done. I was like, let's have that as a topic. Where do you personally fall in a game like Forza Horizon 5? That's, we've heard many people say, oh, it's just another Forza, or it's just another racer. It's more than that and a bag of chips. Where does this game belong in that game of the year, that covenant game of the year conversation?
Boom, I think you put it really well to begin with, but I'll try to build on that. And the first thing I think about, like when I think about what makes a game go from good to great for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, not for all the other reviewers out there, but for me, like the great ones are those types of games that you think about when you're not playing them, right? Like they're the type of game that makes you go, oh man, it's like, Boom Shell's taken away from my Forza time tonight. And that this is one of the few that have done that. There's a handful of them, and all the other ones that fit in that category were really probably my top 10 games of the last generation. I think this is the first one that's done it with this generation, and there's been a lot of good games. I've enjoyed a lot of things that have come out this year, but this one has had a different kind of hold. And what's interesting for me, again, personally, is the last couple of Forzas, like I looked at them and objectively, I felt they were really good games. I probably put in, I don't know, maybe just under 30 hours in the last one, and maybe even a little bit less in 3. I thought they were both really good games, but the open world racer for me just wasn't something that grabbed me and just didn't let go. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've had open world burnout, for the last few years, and even looking at the last couple of games for if we were looking at faults in previous games, that there was a little bit of aimlessness, I thought, to like 3 and 4, where maybe it was just a little overwhelming. It was like, I don't know if I'm making any progress or what am I trying to do, that kind of stuff. So this game, what's so interesting is, like, on paper, it looks like Forza. It looks like more Forza Horizon. But in actuality, this game feels like an improvement in every regard. And the thing that I realized is I'm trying to figure out, like, pinpoint exactly, well, what is it? Like, what, am I being hypocritical here? Like, what's making me so excited about this game or want to keep going back to that? Because obviously the car's all handled great before, the tweaking's there. A lot of the systems were in place before. But the thing that kind of occurred to me is that the star of the show for this type of game, whereas if you're playing God of War, the star of the show is Kratos, right? Or in Halo, it's Master Chief and it's his story. In this game, it's the environments. And I think that's the thing that really separates this from 3 and 4. And I think 3 was even a little bit better than 4. Like those games were technically really good, but this one, like, the environments are special in a way, not just the visuals. Obviously, the visuals are top of the line, The different biomes are really impressive. And I think like once it kind of opens up and you get to some areas, some of these things just smack you upside the head. Like, like it's just like, wow, you get to like, some of these big open areas and things like that. But, what the other thing that's interesting, and I don't know why I didn't feel this in the previous ones, but even traversing the world is fun, and you actually kind of appreciate the progress. And that's the one area that I think most open world games struggle with. It's like usually like when I play a Ubisoft game, and I know, Boom, you're a fan of Assassin's Creed. Yeah. The last couple I fell off really quick. And the reason is because when I'm going across that open world, it's like I could be doing something cool right now. Instead, I'm going from point A to point B. Same thing with like Horizon Zero Dawn. I know those are games that you really like, and a lot of people do. For me personally, that's always the thing, especially when I sit down and play, like I really value the time, the moment to moment gameplay, because, I just value that time I get to actually play games when you got kids and, a cat with an eating disorder that's around here somewhere and, a job, it's like all these things. When I'm sitting down to play a game, I don't want to spend like a half hour, running around an open map and never really feel like I did anything. Here, like when I never really use the fast travel. It's like when I want to go from one point to the other and it's across the world, it's fun. Try to string, you try to pick a path that you can.
There's fast travel?
Yeah, I mean there is. Well, I think so. There's fast travel.
Yeah, no, you can fast travel to like the actual arenas by just paying. Okay. Yeah,
I just drive. I've never fast traveled.
I've never bothered to learn the mechanic.
There's a mansion you buy for £2 million, and that gives you fast travel to anywhere on the map.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Like no, don't do that. Like that. Like
I never have.
Part of the game that's fun. It really is. It's going across there and like picking something like. Yeah. Not even staying on the streets, like just going, trying to go up a hill and, trying to string together like the longest chain you can without hitting a rock, which usually happens.
Or trying to get onto a roof of a house, which you're going to see me do for about 10 minutes, but I get that 5,000 points.
You too. Okay. Yeah. I did this for like 20 minutes.
I love those.
It's the details though, and that's so at the end of the day, that's what it does. That's to me. I understand if a reviewer is going to say something, like, well, it's too iterative, or that's why I'm not going to put it in there. At least I could kind of understand that reasoning. But just to say, well, it's just a car game. I think when you think about all the car games that have come and gone over the years, it's been a long time since anything has really been like a genre. Like something that's an entry level for the casual, for everybody, for the enthusiasts, for the casuals. Like this is the type of thing that I think is appealing to people that usually don't come to the genre. And I think whenever you get a quality that high and the developers can nail the details that well to make this something that's interesting to somebody who doesn't even know what a cartoon is. And I'll be candid, I don't. Somebody was trying to walk me through Toon yesterday. I have no clue. I just, I call AAA if I have an issue. So, I'm not a car dude. But I think what something that kind of sets that bar within a genre and the way this does absolutely should be at least in the conversation. It's always subjective. There's a lot of great games. It doesn't need to win it, but I think you need to. If you say it doesn't even qualify, I don't understand that, because the one beauty of the gaming industry is how diverse it is, and the fact that it is interactive and entertainment. There's nothing that I don't know. To me, it feels very arbitrary to say you need to have a story. Like I understand a story can make something game of the year, but then we've had games that won game of the year that had an amazing story, but maybe they had just sort of okay gameplay. Whereas this, I think it redefines gameplay, and to me the story really is the environments. So.
Well, OBM, let me ask you a question though. Does your driver have stunted emotional issues? and do they are they very stoic, and have a sordid past and read in their ledger that they'd like to clear up? What do you think? No.
No,
I think that's written somewhere in the bylaws of
I'm sure somebody should write some of the backstories to some of these vehicles. I'm sure they could have figured out
to that point. In the nickname choices, Is one of them boy? That's the question.
Oh man, but yeah, no, it really does. This sets a bar that hasn't been set within the genre. It's to me this feels like a significant improvement, and I think honestly I think most reviewers have to agree, because you heard how hard they hit Far Cry, right, for being more of the same, and how that's been kind of a theme where they've been hitting games pretty hard in reviews, even if they're better than the past. If they just feel like they're just fatigued with it for whatever reason, this reinvigorated people, and that has to say something. The fact that it still is over 9, despite at its core being Forza Horizon, tells you I think people felt that this was enough of a step up in a lot of areas. So that alone, I guess I would be surprised if it doesn't get consideration at this point.
Yeah, 100%, and great, well put out there. Keisante, let's get to you, brother. This now again,
I'll put my
game of the
controller
year.
down.
Game of the year is a very subjective conversation, right? So my game of the year might be different for a lot of reasons. There's going to be walking sims. There's going to be action games. There's potentially a flying game. There could be a game that has music in it, but it almost is going to be considered like, look, the Game Awards, I know a lot of people, some people love it, some people hate it. Me, I like it. I like what Geoff has built. I respect everything that he has done. I don't agree with him always. I've said that publicly about Geoff. Some of the things that he's done, I don't agree with. Okay. The fact that, like, for instance, Gears of War 5 did not even get nominated, I thought that was heinous. I honestly thought that was a travesty of gaming justice because of how well that game came out. Right?
And they even had a sad dad in that, Marcus.
They had a sad dad, yeah.
So they met all the criteria.
I was going to say they met the criteria.
Check boxes all over the place. So again, to be honest, I still felt the type of way about that. I felt it was slighted, but I feel that if you, again, we just have to go with the numbers. Numbers usually you can't lie with numbers, right? If this game ends up being, and it still is, the highest reviewed game of the year, and there's only Halo and Battlefield, which I believe Battlefield is going to fall into the same trenches as Call of Duty, which is a big pile of you know what. The only one that has a chance to beat it is Halo. If Halo beats it and then edges it out, then I think you should have 2 Xbox games in that conversation. But for right now, it's the highest reviewed game. Where do you personally fall on the conversation of a game is a game is a game? Should this game be nominated for Game of the Year in the standard Game of the Year conversation?
So before we even get down this rabbit hole, I thought this game also did not meet the cutoff date for being considered this year.
That's convenient.
It does?
No, it does, yeah.
It does meet it?
Yeah.
I thought Keighley said it didn't meet it.
No, it does. Close.
No, I believe it's somewhere in December. It's the
third week of November, I believe. Last year, because remember there was the whole controversy with Jedi Fallen Order missing it by 1 day.
Yeah.
And I think it was the 15th it came out, and then the 16th was the 15th was the cutoff, and the game came out on the 16th, and they wouldn't allow it.
Okay, so this coming out on the 9th, then it is allowed.
It's going to make
right?
it.
Yes,
it's going to make it.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so if that's the case, then all right, that's deferred. As far as is this a game that deserves Game of the Year? I mean, it says the name right in the title, game. It's a game, right? And everyone loves it. Now, I've said that the reason Everborn has always pointed out a very interesting factoid as to comparing it to the Academy Awards and how it is that the art house pictures tend to get the nod in that arena, but in this one only the AAAs do. I think, and rightly so.
Franchise games.
Yes, that's right, and rightly so. Hate him or love him, I think he has done a lot. Keighley has done a lot for this gaming
100%.
industry.
Yes,
and his award show is a rite of passage. It just is, right? And I suspect the reason why the big budget games tend to be more nominated and more featured than the art house picture, if you will, is because in this arena they are trying to from what I can tell, they're trying. There's an agenda there. They want to show the rest of the world that, hey, look at the best we have to offer, and that tends to be the ones that have a lot more money on the screen, right? So they want to show the best of the best. Yes, sometimes some hidden gem sneaks in there, and it's well deserved. But by and large, the ones that have the biggest budgets, the ones that have the most cinematics and all of that, they tend to be the one that showcase more because that shows the best of the industry, right? I agree with that by and large, right? And by that metric, this is definitely a candidate for that. It is the best representation of a game that has been polished and polished and polished. I mean, you can play. I was saying this to Everborn. You can play Forza 2 and Forza 5 on the same console now. Is it 2 or 3? I think it's 2 on the same console and drive the same car. It won't be the same roads, but it kind of looks like it if you pick an inconspicuous road and see the actual iteration of its evolution as far as what they've done to get it to this point, right? So this, and as you're saying, Boom, we don't know where they can go with this. I know they're gonna shed the chains of the mobile CPUs on their next iteration. So we shall see where this goes. But anyone that says this is just a racing game, we can have conversations about whether or not it's deserving of the title or not, right? But it should at least be in the conversation because it's a game like any other game, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly think that if it's not at least in that conversation, it will be a travesty. It will absolutely, and it'll embolden the cynical sides of our minds that always tells us that only certain games are acknowledged versus another. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't go there, but if this doesn't even become a blip on that radar, that will solidify it for many of us that this is not about the game of the year. It's about the game or platform of your choice that you didn't have a bigger voice to then be able to push forward rather than what is quote unquote deserving. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely agree 1,000%. I want to bring this to Dutch next on this because I'm going to take this torch from you and I'm going to continue on because I will say this publicly right now. If this game does not get into that category, not only will it be a travesty, but it will set back what he has done years. I think several years. There comes a point where a game is so good that it must be acknowledged just based on how damn good the game is. This is one of those games. And if it turns out that it somehow misses the mark for whatever reason, it is going to delegitimize everything that Keighley has done for the Game Awards. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to leave a sour taste I don't care where you listen. I don't care what your favorite console plastic box is, whether it's PC, PS5, or the old school Game Boy. I don't care. You have to tip your cap when it's there. This is one of those instances, and I will say it again, and I want to reiterate it. If this does not get into that Game of the Year category and there's some BS excuse used for it, Keighley will have set back what we have all the work he has done. And he has done a lot of hard work, folks. Take nothing away from what Geoff has done. I don't always agree with him, but he has done some great things. If this doesn't get in there, he is going to set back everything that he has done to make his Game Awards a legitimate place where companies, developers can go and put their wares and get a good shot at winning. But by all means, Wandering Judge, please take it away. What are your thoughts? Does this game deserve it?
Yeah, 100%. The when you know a game's hit its mark is when reviewers who legitimately aren't big fans of racing games are reviewing it in such positive light. I want to point two of them that I've most noted. One, a first-time kind of reviewer, which was Addict from Iron Lords.
Yes.
As well as then Matty Plays, who also, his review was also awesome. And he spoke about it countless times now. He is not a racing fan by any stretch of the imagination. He hasn't got a clue about cars. He doesn't know about kind of modifying them or changing them up or anything like that. And he absolutely loves the game. And you know it's hit the mark when people who don't really usually care for racing games are absolutely in love with a racing game. A big open world, enthusiastic, go anywhere, do anything, beautiful world, unbelievable lighting. What it does is it does it, like OBM said before, it in every aspect of the game it exceeds over 4. And when the early previews and things started coming out, and a lot of these reviewers were saying, I see, it's just more Forza. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're on mute.
And you're muted.
There's been an attack.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
There we go. Much better. When all of these initial previews started coming out and said it was a little bit more Forza, I think it was a little bit kind of early judgment. Primarily because they weren't quite sure as to what the game really had in store for them once everything was up and running. And now they've played it, I think all of those voices have kind of changed and they realize the differences. When everybody else gets a chance to jump on it as well, I think they'll see it. The one thing that starkly stood out to me is the world, the map, the biomes, the different kind of areas you can go to. And it is vast. Now, when they originally said it's 2 times the size of 4, I thought, okay, that's big. But it feels so much bigger than that when you're actually in the game. I don't know what it is that it's done that. I think whether or not it is because of such a varied amount of biomes and different areas you go through, but it feels so much bigger, so much more alive. The audio is completely understated. Please, for the love of God, people, when you play this game for the first time, play that game with a nice set of headphones on. These nice, if you've got Xbox head, brilliant. Put them on. Full blast. Absolutely.
They do ray traced audio, right?
Oh God, yes. Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah.
The sound, the engine sounds when you're going through the canyons, and you're hearing the turbo spool up, and then you've got the wildlife, and you're going through, especially going through the jungle. You hear howling monkeys off in the distance, and flamingos flying about, and it's just insane. As you mentioned before, if this game does not get put in there, it's a game at the end of the day. You can't just continue to put story games only into a Game of the Year awards category. A Game of the Year, yes, you've got individual categories, but that main category should be a summarization of every category. Anybody who's within any of the subcategories should be within a chance of winning the main category.
Yep.
It shouldn't just be, the only ones that ever get nominated have a story, which has been the case for a while. I mean, apart from Overwatch, which was a weird one-off.
Yes.
Apart from that, I mean, God, if Overwatch has got a chance to win it, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, there's more people going to play Forza Horizon, especially over the coming months, in terms of varied amounts of people than there are Overwatch. Overwatch has got a big following, but in terms of the varied amount of people that play it, the different kinds of people that play the games, I think Forza Horizon's got a bigger varied crowd. It's hard to put into words, like OBM said before, what it is that it does to stand out just so much above head and shoulders the previous title. But the fun factors there, I mean, I've had a good, every one of my crews got this game on early access, so we've been playing since Friday, Thursday. We all moved to New Zealand for a few hours. So kind of Xbox to transport my house.
Didn't Greeny put something out like that?
Yeah,
Hey,
you did,
everyone moved? I mean, come on.
So we're going on an adventure.
Yeah, but come on, you can't blame Dutch and his crew. He's got dudes in his crew who literally have the word Forza in their name. So come on, what are you gonna do?
We are racing nuts. Every one of them as well watch the F1 like every weekend. So big racing fans in general. But it was as soon as we jumped on, everybody got the levels up immediately. Jumped into a big crew. We had a really good. I mean, I was streaming it for 5.5 hours the other day.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then again tonight, I had Stuffed Sean, who's in the chat, ES Paul, Stuart, all on again tonight, doing a few races and just fooling around on the map and jumping into each other and doing big ramps and checkpoints. And that's what it's about. It's just a big, fun play area, but I mean, it's just such a beautiful place to play as well. I and as you mentioned before we started, Boom, you're going around trying to get all the roads, and it's unbelievable just how much you don't notice until you start to get all the roads checked off of how much more map there is that you haven't yet been on. And then when you start to go through the roads, you're just like, I've never seen this place before. I've never seen this place before. I've never seen this place. How have I not seen this place before? This is such a beautiful little area. And then you keep going around. I'm like, right, this is a brilliant place to take a photo. And then I'm like, no, I know for a fine fact by the time I finish this, I'll have completely forgot what area I said it was brilliant to go and take a photo at. But no, I 100% guarantee there will be. You can't. I mean, it is the highest rated game of the year. You cannot let the highest rated game of the year not be within a shout of getting into that final category. It doesn't make sense logistically, or it just doesn't. It has to be. It has to be, and I'm sure Keighley will be watching the amount of just sheer amount of views and talk that this game's getting from everybody in the industry, not just the car racing fanatics, but just the media in general, just how happy they are.
Quick pro tip for me real quick before you continue. If you've played Forza, the old versions, the newest version right now, download the Forza Hub app.
Yes.
Please do that and load it up, because they give you a poop ton of credits, loyalty points, if you will, for all the Forzas you played, and that will get you huge points enough to buy other cars. I didn't know that. Shout out to Infinite Umbra on Twitter for pointing that out. Loaded it up. A couple 100,000 points I got right away to be able to get different cars.
Nice.
Do it.
And it's an amalgamation of all the other games we've played before.
Yeah.
It's basically if you played the other ones. Yeah, if you played any of the other ones. Exactly. So you load it up, you'll get a bunch of points.
Really?
Loyalty points. Yes.
Infinite Umbra, you're a genius. Thank you. And Asante, thank you for bringing that up. Sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, in terms of, yes, I'm an Xbox account as well, but in terms of its viewability and just how many people have watched it, and granted, I've put some pretty.
Yeah, somebody's got something going on in the background. Please mute that.
There we go.
Mind. Yeah, that's a lot of chatter. Thank you.
Put a few.
Blame my kids.
Right, that's real life.
Put a few posts up over the last few days, but I mean, I've put 15 posts up. 7,500 likes and 608,000 impressions.
Wow.
From 15 posts. That's just photos of the game.
I mean, yeah, but the photos you take are just ridiculous, unbeliable.
Wow.
But yeah, listen,
it shows as well just how many people are excited and specifically how this game looks and runs on every platform. Whether or not you've got the OG Xbox, whether or not you're playing it on cloud, whether or not you're playing it on the Series S or X or PC, it is just so well optimized across the board.
It's good that you say that, because I have one problem, and you mentioned it, so I have to bring it up. On PC, it plays great. You cannot take captures of it while it's playing, and that's a big problem. It doesn't matter how great your machine is. The minute you hit record, unless you're using an external capture card, you're at 130 frames per second, turns to 27 slideshow.
Yeah,
right. It is a problem. Hopefully they know this, because a bunch of people have already complained about it, and they'll fix it. But that is a criticism.
That's weird.
Maybe there's a day one patch.
There could be.
Yeah,
because it's not even day one yet. So there you go.
Yeah.
But you know what, Everborn, let's get your opinion on this. Now you obviously broke down and got the game. You
absolutely not. No.
Oh, you
absolutely.
didn't. Okay.
I did not make it where I was.
He's got an excuse. He's got other things to do.
That is
true. He would have gotten it himself.
That is true. I've been playing the game of watching the
Twitter
Kickstarter.
Spaces?
No Twitter Spaces. I've been watching the Kickstarter pledges and reaching out to everyone. I even reached out to Dealer today. I might have to pull on some strings from you, Boom, to try to get me on RDX and try to tell people about the campaign. But anyway, that's the game I've been playing. But even if I wasn't doing that, I would not be playing this before Tuesday. But that being said,
that's fine. I mean, listen, again, I've seen a lot of people on the sidelines saying, "Hey, listen, it's what I got Game Pass for, so I don't have to spend the money." The early access. I know there's been some controversy with it. I don't buy it for the early access as much as I buy it because I want all the DLC. And if we know what they do with Playground Games, all you have to do is look back at Forza Horizon 3's DLC, Forza Horizon 4 Lego DLC. So I cannot wait to see what they do. But the bonus of getting that all the bells and whistles is you do get it early. And people that are waiting, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not the question here. The question here is, with the game being the highest reviewed title of 2021 and the Game Awards really being I think someone said it before, the rite of passage for a developer like a Playground Games, does this have to be in that conversation at the end of the year, Reborn?
I hate to break everybody's bubble here, but the game of the year, I swear to God, is going to end up being some crap like Returnal. I see it now.
It's wonderful you mentioned Returnal. This has already beaten that as far as sales.
I know. Just the early access, yes. I do, but okay. So before I get into this game of the year thing, I'm not going to take us off course. But that controversy about day and date is a lie is so stupid. Like, what is the definition of early? The street date is the street date. You're getting it day one. The game doesn't officially release until the 9th. So I don't want to hear anybody with that nonsense. But anyway, back to the question at hand. I think it should be, right? But and it's not, because it's a racer. Is how much of a zeitgeist moment is this game, and will people be talking about it after Halo? And I don't say that to say I know the answer to that. I'm just that's a question that I'm asking in terms of when we think it, because has any Forza, everyone loved Forza 4 when it came out universally. I don't know anyone that complained against it. What'd you say?
I said not like this, but no, keep going.
Okay, not like this. All right. So because my question is, why didn't Forza Horizon
play it and you'll notice the difference? Trust me, there is a difference there.
There's a big difference in 4. Not just graphics.
It's leaps and bounds different.
And actually, I want to throw one other thing. I didn't mention this earlier, but and I guess I'm guessing when somebody from the panel probably will mention it. But the progression system is significantly better. And what's interesting about it, like this seems like a thing that like you almost wouldn't even give credit for how they arrange icons in a map or how all that stuff works, but they somehow figured out how to give you more freedom to do the things you want to do, yet make it more streamlined and purposeful at the same time. And that almost sounds like a contradictory thing that they somehow masterfully pulled off. And I think even from a open world progression aspect, they've kind of set a bar here, or maybe found a template. It's not the same template as what they used before. Because like I said, when I played 4 and I played it almost 30 hours, maybe somewhere between 25 and 30 hours, I felt like it was pretty aimless a lot of times. And it was just a little bit overwhelming. And I didn't really, like I said, really didn't know what I was aiming to do. What's really cool here is
you're saying they cracked the formula in this.
I do think so. Yeah. It's like, what's neat here is like, I can focus on just dirt races if I want to and build cars for that and get really good at that. And then it's like, okay, I master that. Now I can go like, okay, now I want to do street races and what kind of cars I want for that. And that's a lot, to me, that's better than what they had before. And then it feels like they're constantly rewarding you. The progression is just, it is subtle, I think, to like somebody on the outside, but I think it's masterfully the way they kind of walk that line between always feeling like you have a purpose, but you're always feeling like you have freedom to do what you want to do.
So,
and real quick, everyone, to answer your question as to will this matter after Halo, I've been playing this game, like these games, as palate cleansers for quite some time now. This game is peak palate cleanser. You can play this with everything else, especially what Boom was saying about screw the races, screw all the things that they tell you to do. See that hill up there? Go up to that hill.
Drive to that hill.
I will be honest
you
with
want.
you guys. When Halo comes out, other than my kids, nothing else is really going to matter. So.
Well, there you go. But it is a good palate cleanser. It really is.
Yeah, but
I'm playing this with multiple other games.
Does Palette Cleanser meet the level of Game of the Year? Even
No,
if it's
but
the ultimate palette cleanser?
what I mean by that is everyone can have something to play in it, and everyone can take something from it. There are car guys that eat this stuff up. There are people who have finished the entire map already, right? And then there are people like me who will get deep into it day one, and then over the months, I will play this and that, this and another game, this, and I will always be playing this game. This will be in my expansion card for a long time, in addition to Halo.
Yeah. No, I agree. You'll keep coming back to this. It's just set up that way, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with for DLC and things like that.
Yeah, those expansions.
Yeah. Now, when you spend the extra money, you buy it outright for the $100. Does that mean you get all the DLC going forward? What do you get?
Yes, you get everything.
Money?
You get both big expansions. You get 6 car packs. I think usually the release. Probably about 8 in total. So like the release, the 6 that is included, and then near the very tail end, they release like two ones that you purchase, but they're not essentials.
Now I'm gonna go buy it. You see, this is why I didn't want to come on the show today.
Not only that,
you sold me on it.
There's more.
Oh, there's more.
You also get a voucher to use on any car in the game, so you don't have to. I spent it on the.
It could be a $3 million car.
30 million, $30 million car. So I spent it on that. You can also you get a couple of the houses in game that give you perks. You get wheel spins pretty much all the time, and obviously wheel spins aren't anything you purchase physically yourself. So there's no like microtransactions. They what you earn for just simply leveling up in game. But you get them pretty much every other day. You get weekly ones from the Forza team, and then you get them just for leveling up anyway. Plus, you also get XP boosts. So you've got the expansion passes, you've got the car passes, you've got everything in between. XP boosts. They do as much as they physically can to reward you for just playing the game.
Yeah, and I guess for me, this is. It seems like it's more than just a racing game.
Oh yeah,
right. It is. So if you're asking me, should it be nominated? Should it be in the consideration? Yes. However, does cynical Everborn think it will be nominated? And that answer is still a resounding no.
And I agree with that too.
I do not think that it will get that level of recognition. It's a good thing the deck is stacked, though, I think, in the Xbox favor, because like you can't like not acknowledge this and then not acknowledge Psychonauts, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on this year in terms of what could get nominated versus what got delayed. So I think Xbox is going to have a good year at the Game Awards. I don't know if this will be it. And what I don't want to happen, and I know it's not the same thing, but Flight Sim is it is one of those games where it's still installed on my not the direct hard drive. It's installed on my expansion card, but I keep Flight Sim on because I always pick it up every now and again. And if there's a storm somewhere, I want to fly into it. And if I hope Forza is not that, and I say this because I'm not really a Forza guy. I hope Forza is not that thing where you just pick it up every now and again, but you don't. I
think once you're actually playing it, I think you're going to understand what we're all talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's not just another Forza, that it's not something you're going to play every now blue moon. You will be addicted to playing this game, like many of us are.
One thing I want to
find out tomorrow.
One other thing I was going to throw out there while you're kind of talking about that, I was thinking about it. Everborn is this is also probably one of the better social games. Like if you ever just wanted to get on and you didn't want anything like intense, you just kind of wanted to unwind and just kind of bull crap with your friends about games. Like this is one of those types of experiences, especially with the creative mode. Like nobody's really touched on that right now, but from what I've gathered, it's pretty deep. And I think this is Playground's version of Forge. Yeah, basically it is Forge for Forza. And I think you're going to, especially with this giant community with Game Pass, with PC, you're going to see a lot of interesting modes out, that are going to get created. And I think it's just one of those things that you can go back to. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I remember like with Halo 3 onwards, when that Forge came out, it it was like, me and buddies would be like, we'd have groups and it's like, okay, this is Halo night. And then somebody just throw together a bunch of Forge maps and like, we just do dumb things. And it was just, it wasn't serious. It was just something you just jumped on and it was a social
had fun.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that happening here. I think that that's something that this world is built for that. And if the tools are there, like people are saying, I think it's, that's an underrated aspect that not nobody, but most people aren't really factoring right now because they're still enamored with the base game. I think that's going to start to take hold in over the coming weeks and months.
I was going to say I haven't even touched on. You're right. I haven't even touched on the custom stuff or the design.
Me either.
Design aspects of it. Nothing. I've literally just played the base stuff so far, and we've been having a laugh on that. But the maps that some people are going to create is just going to be insane.
Dutch shared a picture of a couple cars that had been custom made into Mario vehicles. I'm waiting for that Mario Kart level, baby.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I'll get it set up.
Yeah, let's get it done. But
when we talk about just like between the map creator that they said is going to be available on this, and then when Forge comes out in Halo, I just also want to take my hat off to what they're doing in terms of like socializing these bigger games. I think hats off to 343 and Playground.
Oh, one thing I want to add to that actually, in terms of hats off, the accessibility on this game is insane.
Yeah,
it is absolutely bonkers.
It's the biggest I've ever seen.
They've even then, obviously, if you hadn't seen the GameSpot post there as well, which they retweeted, they're adding sign language for cutscenes in this game.
Wow.
So it's the first time there's gonna be a game with actual sign language covering cutscenes on a game. Also, they've added a feature for those with either slow reflexes or mental impairments that doesn't give them reaction time to go, so you can slow this game speed down to like 40. So basically,
somebody used that. They use that as a comparison for why a game like Sekiro can't have that. The exact same game, but slow everything down to 50%, and then it makes everything a little more manageable.
So you're still doing like 200 miles an hour, but it's basically giving that person the time to actually react and get around corners and respond to what's happening.
I actually might need that myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
the old reflexes aren't what they used to be.
But yeah, it's just absolutely insane. We've got a chap actually that we know called Sightless Combat, and he's a completely blind gamer. He's been helping the Forza team with the accessibility on it, but he's like I think he's level 67 or something. He's done most of the roads. I'm like, Jesus, Web, how do you manage that?
I love hearing stories like that. But listen, what I want to do is I got to bring in Mag, and we got to bring in Cyber, and we got to get to the big topic of the show, and that is a lot of conspiracy theories coming out of what happened a couple of days ago with head of Square Enix, their president, just destroyed Crystal Dynamics publicly. It was I was saying in the green room, I would not want to be a part of that team because I would be just completely beside myself in anger.
And maybe they're no longer a part of that team.
Well, maybe they're not. And we're going to get into that. But Mag, let's get your opinion on this now. Mag, did you drop the money on the big edition, or are you waiting for tonight?
I haven't been home, so there was no point. There was no point in me getting it. So I thought about it.
Well, then how did you do those reviews, Mag? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even home, barely for like half an hour, and then I'd go to bed. So I thought to myself,
keep him busy.
Yeah, I would just be wasting my money. So I'm like, I'll just wait till Tuesday. It's actually my day off tomorrow, so I can finally sit down and give this game a try. Now, before I get into it, I just wanted to say a couple things. Boom, your review, not only was it excellent, but it was the first one I watched.
Oh, thanks, dude. That's awesome. Thank you.
I thought it was amazing. I loved every second of it, the professionalism of it, everything else. It looked incredible.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to say that. And Dutch, also your picks that you've been posting on Twitter and everything else
ridiculous.
are nothing short of breathtaking. Absolutely amazing. Really great. Oh, by the way, Dutch, you look like the Emperor from Star Wars right now because all I can see is your face and just this dark shadow you're sitting in. Now,
Put on the hood. There it is.
you look terrifying. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, now just say
the dark side.
So,
Rise, my friend.
right. So, anyways,
man.
Forza. Let's get into this thing. Now, first of all, you guys were talking about fast travel. Listen, the only way you fast travel in Forza is you just hit the accelerator harder.
There you go.
All right? That's
There
how
you
you
go.
fast travel because you want to soak in the sights. Okay, these guys put a lot of effort into this open world. Clearly, from what I've seen so far, they have gone above and beyond the Call of Duty, no pun intended, with their visuals this year. But anyways, that's a whole other story. But let me tell you something. This game looks stunning, and it looks like there's a lot of detail in there, right? So you would want to spend the time to go through there, check it out, see what's there. Like Dutch was saying, I've never even knew this place was here. Look at this place. Look at that. So you'd want to do that. Now, another interesting little side note I did notice, someone actually in the chat mentioned it earlier in the show. There are actually 1.5 million active players right now on Forza Horizon 5, and the game hasn't even released.
Yep.
It is all early access people who have dropped the money, whether they bought the game entirely or just bought the expansions. Now, the thing is, let's just say, for argument's sake, okay, how many people are in Game Pass, whatever, right? If you've got 1.5 million people, all right, in this game already, you could theoretically still have 25 million sets of eyeballs that haven't even touched it yet, right? So you could, if it goes the way it's going to go, what I think it's going to go, and especially with the way the reviews are coming in and what we're hearing from everybody who's been playing it, including people in the chat and on this panel, okay, there's going to be a lot of people in this game. Okay, so I think this might be the biggest Forza that's ever been released. And I think it's going, and especially, again, coupled with the fact that Game Pass is pushing anywhere between 23, 25, or 30 million people, hasn't even happened yet. I think this could be an absolutely extraordinary year for Microsoft and, of course, for this particular game and franchise. So there's that. Now, the other thing is that we're talking about the Keighleys and everything else, right? And if you think about it, I can't remember who mentioned it, actually. I think it was either Asante or Dutch. We're talking about how Overwatch won. Okay. Now, are you playing Overwatch for its engaging story? Are you going to bed thinking about the characters and saying, man, that storyline really got to me or whatever? No, it's an arena shooter, for Christ's sake. So you're just playing it for fun. So there it is. Fun.
Yeah.
Okay. What is, if you think about it, and another thing, before the Keighleys even happened, there were the other game awards. I think they were called the BAFTAs, right? I think they're still happening. But anyways, one of their games of the year was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was before Keighley started getting into his thing. And what's that? Is there a story there? Is there a sad dad there? Is it an over the shoulder? No.
Tony Hawk can be considered a sad dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, depending on how bad his kids are acting. But anyways, the thing is, it's a game for fun. And what are games at the end of the day? Something that you play for enjoyment. How you enjoy it is entirely up to you. If you're a heavy story narrative dude, great, play that. If you're just about the mindless action, go ahead, do that too. That's where you can play your Bayonettas or whatever the hell you want to play. If you're a platform guy, you just do those, a guy or gal, you play those games, or a shooter or whatever, right? So who's the one, who says what can be defined as a game or game of the year or whatever? It's nonsense to me. If you think about actually like some of the greatest games of all time had no story at all.
Yeah.
Miss Pac-Man is one of the greatest games of all time with probably one of the biggest impacts on the industry in the history of video games. Super Mario Brothers. Are you sitting there worried about what happened to Princess Peach? Or are you just trying to get to the next block so you don't fall into the lava? Right?
I'm worried about Peach, bro.
Well, maybe you, Cyber, okay? But the rest of us were just trying to stay alive, while Bowser's shooting like hammers at us or whatever, right? But the thing is, you're playing it for the enjoyment of the game. It is a game at the end of the day. So now you take that over to, like, let's say a flight simulator. You're flying, okay? It's still a game. It's still something that you want to do. Racing game. Same thing. You've got Forza Horizon 5. From what I've seen so far, I can't say it's amazing. I haven't played it yet, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it is. So therefore, guess what? It is still a game. It is something that you were doing for your own personal enjoyment. So therefore, it should be in the running for Game of the Year. However, and this is where the however comes into play, is that I fear that, I don't really fear, I mean, I just think it's just going to happen, is that they're going to do what they do every year, and they're just going to shove it into that sports/racing category, which to me is bullshit. I'm sorry, excuse me.
I'm calling it now, man. I'm telling you, Returnal is going to win.
You know what? I have a feeling Everborn is probably not far off the mark. I think it's going to be either Returnal, Death's Door, or maybe Death's Door just win.
No.
Or
wasn't there a tweet or something going on?
I was gonna say I didn't know Returnal. I didn't know Returnal had such fans until like Keighley had a Spaces, and he offered people to come up and talk about the games they loved, and Returnal came up so many times, and I was just sitting here.
There was a guy in there that said,
but there was guys saying, "No, it's Returnal's my game of the year," but I haven't played it.
And
yet.
he didn't play it. Yes, that was one.
So,
I haven't played it yet. It's my game of the year.
And you know what? Barely even 1 million people even bought. What was it? Or is it 500,000?
700,000. Yeah,
700,000. Okay, so it can't be that popular. But anyways, that's a whole other story. But the thing is, here's the thing. It's going to get shoved in that sports racing category, which I think is ridiculous. And what's going to happen there? It gets pushed out of the spotlight. It's the same as when the Academy Awards, if anybody still watches that trash, but if you're watching the Academy Awards and they have like best CGI effects or best sound editing, and that's when everybody gets up to go to the bathroom. Prize. Yeah, and everybody goes, they're like, oh, sound editing. I'm going to go to the bathroom and go grab another beer. That's when you get up and leave. No one's watching who's winning sound editing, right? That's what they're going to do to Forza Horizon 5. It's going to become a footnote. And I think that that's an absolute shame. However, if there's enough pressure from the public, at the same time, you got to understand, Geoff Keighley's not a stupid guy. Okay, Geoff Keighley knows that he's got his fingers on the pulse of the community, and he knows that he's going to have to play this right. That if millions and millions and millions of people, and it becomes a social and social media phenomenon as well as a phenomenon on the Xbox ecosystem, you can't ignore it. And I think he may just say, you know what, it'd be really stupid if I shove this in that sports racing category because I'm going to piss off a lot of people. So therefore, it might, if there's enough pressure from the people, and if there's enough spotlight on this game, it would be damn foolish of him to not put it in the game of the year, because I think even if it doesn't win, it will create the hype that's required. Can you imagine? You got Returnal versus Forza 5 versus Psychonauts 2 versus Death's Door. Now you got a show. Because on top of that, Sony didn't really have all that much this year. I mean, they had Returnal and they had Ratchet and Clank. Okay, Ratchet and Clank to me was the same as it always been.
It is, but I think it's a shoo-in to get nominated.
I think just because they have Sony has that history of pedigree, which cannot be denied. But at the same time, you look at a game like Ratchet and Clank, what are you doing? You're throwing a disco ball at Dr. Nefarious for the 36th straight game, for crying out loud. So it's like, okay, there's nothing here that I haven't seen before, except there's some better lighting and better reflections, and that's basically it. So the thing, if you play the 2016 Ratchet and Clank, which was free on the PlayStation Store, it's the same game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same game. So it's whatever. Anyway, the point is, I think it would create much more hype, especially like I said, if more people are involved, and more people are engaged in Forza Horizon 5, then I think that it may end up in that Game of the Year category. So again, like I said, long story longer, I just think that a game, just like Boom said, a game is a game is a game, and it's all about your interpretation of what you personally enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. Cyber, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Give us your thought on whether or not something like Forza Horizon 5 should be nominated for Game of the Year.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, just from the feedback that we've been getting from reviewers, all these different outlets, and also the community themselves have been actively on Twitter, everywhere else, just claiming how good this game is, how different, how the hardcore fans really enjoyed the tweak and balances that they've been doing. I personally can't say that I'm a racing enthusiast, or I don't play that much racing games, But I do dabble here and there when my friends want to try it, when I see a lot of people, when I see some of my friends playing it. But this game absolutely looks amazing. And the review, if the metric that you're using is solely the review, Metacritics, Open Critics, and things like that, absolutely this game should 100% be nominated for Game of the Year. Now, I'm on board as well with most of what everyone's been saying, that it should be nominated, but even if it is nominated, it would have a difficult time winning. Maybe this year it'll just because traditionally they've been, I know we've had some examples here, Overwatch, Tony Hawk Pro Skaters and things like that, but throughout the years that we've just seen third person narrative story driven games consistently win these categories. And we never know what's going to happen, with Keighley as well. I personally think that from all these reviews and this is I believe it's the highest rated game this year. I think it's Forza Horizon 5.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct.
Yes.
So like I said, if the structure is solely based on that, which I'm sure it's not, it's a bunch of people who go there and vote, then Returnal has a shot of winning. But should it be nominated? 100%. Now I play Forza once every blue moon, but I'm excited for me to try this tomorrow. I didn't pick up the premium pack. I know a lot of people are excited for that. Dutch has been posting these amazing shots, man. He needs to do a shot for me so I can save it as my background. If you guys go take a look on his Twitter feed, it's been amazing. But yeah, so I'm not that big into racing games. It's just not my thing. But from what I've seen, from what I've heard, and from the feedback from the community and these reviewers, it absolutely should be nominated for sure.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks, what a great way to open up the show. Didn't realize it was going to go almost an hour and 20 minutes, but something well worth the conversation for sure. Real quick shout out to Drawn TJ, drops the first super chat of the day, says Forza Horizon 5 is awesome, but the convoy doesn't work. Can't see my friends. This is going to be a great show. Awesome panel. Yeah, I think there might be some tweaks that might be out there that maybe aren't active. Maybe we're going to come in the day one patch.
Let me ask one. I'm sorry, but are all the features there day one or no?
Yeah.
Are they missing a couple? Oh, they
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've had zero problems, zero crashes or anything. Everything seems to be working for me.
All the features are there immediately.
All the modes and things like that.
All the modes, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
Awesome, yeah. Okay.
Abacab72 says, actually drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, fun fact, the last time a racing game was nominated for Game of the Year, it was 2004 with Burnout 3 Takedown, and it lost to Half-Life 2. Dude, that's a great factoid. I didn't even know that. Thank you for that. Michael Kullock drops not one, but two $5 super chats. And the first one says, can't remember the last time a racer won Game of the Year. More often than not, Game of the Year tends to go to story-driven games. He also says, you never know, Halo could come out of nowhere and win Game of the Year. Yeah, it's going to miss the mark.
I would love to watch the world burn if that happened.
That would be great.
Oh my God.
I would love for Keighley to make an exception for Halo. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. It's a little late, December 8th. I don't know. But all I do know is we have to get into what I've been advertising as the big topic of today's show. With Crystal Dynamics currently working on the Perfect Dark reboot, many in the community have asked the question, has Microsoft started the acquisition process of the team responsible for rebooting the Tomb Raider franchise? Well, I think that this is some tinfoil hat stuff, folks, and it is opinionated, and we're going to kind of hang out in speculation town for a hot second. But while addressing shareholders in a statement published by the company's annual report, President Yosuke Matsuda said that Square Enix needed to learn from the game's disappointing performance. And I say, ouch. Marvel's Avengers was an ambitious title for us in that we took on the game as a service model We overcame a variety of unexpected difficulties in the final phase of the game's development, including needing to transition to work from home due to the pandemic. We were able to address these challenges and release the game, but it has unfortunately not proven as successful as we would have liked. Nonetheless, taking on the Game of the Year games as a service model highlighted issues that we are likely to face in the future for game development efforts, such as the need to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams. And he continued, while the new challenge that we tackled with this title produced a disappointing outcome, we are certain that the games as a service approach will grow in importance as gaming becomes more service oriented. How we go about creating new experiences by incorporating this trend into our game design is a key question that we will need to answer going forward.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very corporate, but hold on.
I thought the headline was bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it gets interesting, because when this subject first came up, he was first interviewed by GamesBeat. Matsuura explained that he thought Crystal Dynamics, this is going back all the way to 2019, that he thought Crystal Dynamics was well suited for Marvel's Avengers, and his exact quote was, "Crystal has always been a company that has made games in the action-adventure space. In that sense, I thought it would be a good fit in terms of making a game with Marvel using the Avengers, which would naturally be an action-based game." Was
that a Jim Ryan quote, or was that
that was the president of Square Enix.
Interesting.
The salt starts early. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, there's no listen. Okay. Look. I gotta say, right out of the gate, when you see the president basically throw your company under your development house under the bus, it makes you really scratch your head. And it's look. He actually said in this company statement that Crystal Dynamics was the wrong fit for the disappointing Marvel's Avengers. And I gotta be honest with you, when you hear that kind of talk, when you hear the quotes that I just read, go out to the company. If you are a part of the team, Crystal Dynamics, that built this game. Now, granted, I'll tell you straight up right now, I did not enjoy Marvel's Avengers not because the graphics were bad, not because the character models didn't look like the MCU characters that we all know and love, not that the story was bad, not that Miss Marvel was one of the lead story arcs, which I thought her story arc and her story was amazing. Loved her as a character. I think that the what was shoehorned into this was the loot system, and it broke the game. It broke the game in a way that I don't think can be fixed. Again, if you were on the fence about a single-player Marvel game, I say check out Guardians of the Galaxy. That is a masterful game that I cannot wait to get back to. But I do want to get, before I bring in Everborn, before I bring in, of course, Keisante, I do want to bring our guest into the conversation. When you hear this, and now that we know that this team that is extremely talented, that reboot a dying franchise in Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, this is the same team that brought us Rise of the Tomb Raider, my favorite in the series, probably my favorite game, certainly the best looking game of last gen, without a doubt, is working on now the reboot of Joanna Dark. The question we start to ponder. The question has to be asked: the trial period, quote unquote trial period, that was rumored to be Microsoft trying out this team. I don't think that you have to try out anything. I think you have a talented team. I think that there could have been the steps already started, because you don't come out and throw your team under the bus if they're still a part of your your organization. I think that this is their way. This is them coming out of under the Square Enix umbrella, potentially into the Xbox Game Studios family, and I think they would do very well there. What are your thoughts on the comments there, OBM?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack there. And, so I guess like when I look at the situation, I try to step back with all these things and I try to look at them not just in a vacuum and, taking away like any, potential rumors or anything like that. Like just looking at this logically, like, the same way that a analyst would look at a stock or somebody would predict a sports game. You kind of look at all the different factors. Even leading up to this, like if you step all the way back to, when they made the first Tomb Raider reboot, remember that was very well received critically.
Yes, commercially as well.
Yeah, it sold 7 million, and they were not very happy with that. They went on record with
bonkers. Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that we'll start to realize there is some other interesting things. Like when you think about these companies, it's almost its own other topic. But like the way the industry is changing, a lot of these companies, they gauge these things differently than the way we might think of them. Like we look at it and say, oh, they made some money. That's positive, right? They sold a lot of games. They made money. That should be a win. Why would anybody be unhappy with that? But a lot of times the way these corporations look at it, they set expectations with their investors, and there's also opportunity costs. Like if you're spending time on this thing, you could have spent that time on this other thing that could have made us more money than this other thing did. And so like maybe we should have just put all those people on the Final Fantasy series, or continue to expand out on our MMO. And so you look at that, and then you go a few years later, IOI was underneath them at that time. IOI was a very successful studio. If you look at IOI's history, they've had a history of quality, before they ever joined up with Square Enix. And, they had some really highly regarded games on the PC back in the day, with Hitman. Then they came out with this series, and again, from the top of Square, they wanted to make this into something episodic because they're trying to figure out how to take the single player thing and make it create more engagement. Because that's like the kind of the common thing you're seeing with a lot of these big publishers. It's not just about, hey, this game sold enough, made back our money, we're good. It's about engagement. It's about mind share. And so they're trying to figure out a model to make that work. And it backfired on them, despite the fact that the original Hitman Last Generation came out to, again, very good critical reception. A lot of people love that game. And, I know like Grubb always referred to that as like one of his favorite games of the Last Generation. And
One Bad Mother, if I can interrupt you one second, you just reminded me. Hitman 3 came out this year.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's another great game.
That's also for on the hook for a game of the year. Yeah.
And it should be. Like IOI was a very, very good developer, and so Square Enix let them go because it wasn't profitable, right? It wasn't about the quality of the game. It was just they couldn't figure out how to make the money they wanted to make with them, so they let them go. They let them use the Hitman license, which Square Enix still owns, by the way. I know a lot of people assume that the IOI somehow took that with them. They took like first rights or something. It's some weird deal, but Square Enix still owns that license. And they loaned it out to them to.
Is that like right of first refusal?
Yeah,
so
I don't know the specifics. It's a weird deal. Like it's not like your usual type of deal. But I know that Square Enix still owns it. Like they didn't just give it to them for free. They just let them use it. But so then you keep moving forward, and then it's like, okay, so you had those successes. We know that Eidos did the next Tomb Raider, which wasn't commercially super successful. Then they move on. They pivot everything over to Marvel. They take the successful studio, pivot them over to this. And again, like I think to Boom, what you just said, you kind of painted the picture well. That's if you take away the mess that was kind of tacked on, the loot stuff that really junks up the game. I experienced it for the first time in Game Pass a couple months ago. I was taken back. I was surprised by the quality of the visuals, the animations, the story, like even the gameplay, all the different characters, like moment to moment. It was
The
a
story
fun
was
game.
very engaging in that game.
Yeah.
At least in the beginning, Camilla
I-
Khan and reconnecting everyone.
I was surprised. Like I thought it was. I thought I saw a quality game that had a bunch of this
tacked on junk.
Yeah,
Yes.
basically, like they just
As soon as you open the war table, like the whole game goes to shit.
Yeah, and so like you can see like the problems were the executive decisions, and so you kind of put that all together. And I even look at the Guardians of the Galaxy is a very highly it's been a well received game recently. I do wonder though, like just based on the kind of the mind share you kind of see, like the buzz. I would be surprised if that ends up meeting their goals. I think that Square Enix makes so much money from these other properties, from Final Fantasy, from their MMO, from Dragon Quest, that I just like it looks like their Western division is. I mean, overall, it's something that's lost the money. When you factor in Marvel, and I just I can't. I think it's not only Crystal Dynamics. I could see them just basically packaging the whole thing, and I would even argue. And again, this is speculation. This isn't like rumor, and I didn't hear this from Nick or anything like that. But I'm just like looking at this from the reading the tea leaves, reading what the executives what they've said, the way they threw them under the bus here. What they did with IOI, like it's not about quality games, it's about finding a business model that works. And I think with their entire Western division, I would even argue that the fact that Eidos' game reviewed very well probably helps them include them in some sort of package, and just like because I don't see them like keeping
I absolutely agree with you. I would even take it one step further. OBM. I would dare say that not only would Microsoft, again, folks, speculation down, would walk away with Crystal, walk away with Eidos, they walk away with the Tomb Raider IP, and they bring Lara Croft to make her first party. And I say that, and you say, wait a second, you're ridiculous, Boom. Well, here's the thing. I'm sorry to say, they can't finish making Final Fantasy games on time without being a 10-year delay. So what are the chances are any of those teams going to make a Lara Croft game? No, that's a highly lucrative IP that they could make a package deal and offer to Microsoft and get themselves. Listen, if you didn't know, they took a $63 million bath with Avengers, folks. $63 million.
But boom. Did they though? Because I want to talk about some of this Hollywood accounting going on when we get to it.
But bottom line, though, it fell way short of expectations, right? I think regardless of how we kind of do the math, it's obvious when they talk in those investor meetings. They're not talking to us. They're not talking for Twitter. They're talking to the people that really run the company, which is the people that invest in them and control the that's who's the boss, right? That's the investors are really who's the boss of these publicly owned corporations. And so like when you look at Crystal Dynamics and the fact that they have a studio dedicated to a Microsoft AAA game, it's like, why aren't they working on a Square Enix property? I agree with you. And I think Tomb Raider is something that hasn't been as profitable as they'd like. It's probably worth, here's the other thing, when you think of like, what's a business deal that makes sense? I look at it this way. It's like, those companies, those developers are probably worth, and that IP is probably worth more to Microsoft than it is worth to Square Enix. And that's when you can see a transaction happening, right? It's exactly what Microsoft needs. You just had Matt Booty recently talking about having these character these big character experiences that they can build their brand around. Like they want that thing. And to reiterate, he said they don't want to do copy and paste of what Sony's doing, but they do want to, in general, have that type of thing. And here you have a female, first of all. We know that Microsoft's trying to diversify their characters. You have one of the most recognizable female characters in gaming.
Yes, 100%.
And a couple studios that are not making the money. So yeah, which is exactly what Microsoft.
Does Deus Ex come with such a package?
I bet you, like, this is just speculation. This is just us throwing our best predictions out there, right? Yeah, I would say they would. My prediction is that if something were to happen, it'd probably be a package with Crystal Dynamics, Eidos. It would include the Hitman, Deus Ex, and Tomb Raider. Maybe Soul Reaver, whatever. Like they don't need those Western IPs.
Those are the magic word. He said the magic word.
Yeah, those are all worth. Those are all worth more. Those are all worth more.
Legacy of Kain, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And Microsoft's already got that relationship with IOI, who basically
who's making Project Dragon, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they adore the Hitman IP. So you know what? You pull that IP, and then you pull it. It's like, hey, you can start up another team and do a Hitman game too. So who knows? Like there's a lot of opportunity there. I think for both sides to come out of this ahead.
Yeah. Well, certainly I put it to this way. I mean, listen, if you are Eidos, if you are Crystal Dynamics, or specifically Crystal Dynamics, and you're reading this report, and you're the head of that studio, and you are literally just being cut from the ankles down. You're left as being the reason why it failed. And I have a strong suspicion that the choice to make this games as a service the way that they did, the way we all feel it was shoehorned in there, probably came from the top. And Crystal Dynamics, remember, this game was delayed multiple times, probably to get that in, and they're now left holding the bag, so to speak. Mag, I want to bring you into the conversation, right? And I want to get your opinion on this. You for your profession, you obviously are a chef, right? Mm-hmm. My question to you is.
So he says.
So he says. Well, again, we're still questioning his loyalty to Xbox Nation. I don't know, but
he's a plant, man. We sent him in there to get us inside footage from behind the walls of the cult.
And you guys thought you needed Sam Fisher. Carry on.
Somebody's got to do a documentary on that, by the way. Everborn, you're in there. I hope you're recording all that.
100%. The Mag.
Yes, sir.
Let's get your opinion on this. Listen, when you see a situation like this happen, from your profession, if something doesn't go wrong and they literally throw the entire team that made whatever under the bus, how does that team come back to work? How does, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that happen? It actually doesn't. So it does seem to me that there is definitely room to believe that something has happened, because you don't say these kind of things and literally take the team that made this game and just decimate them the way that happened. It's impossible. Yeah. What are your thoughts on two things? One, the commentary from the president, and more importantly, the chances that they have already been purchased by Microsoft. We just haven't heard about it yet.
Okay. As for being purchased by Microsoft, first of all, it makes absolute sense that this would happen. I mean, look at what we've already been talking about here. The guy got IO Interactive, who had left and whatever else they were doing, what they're doing, and all of a sudden they're working on Project Dragon. Then you've got, of course, Crystal Dynamics. Okay, they're working on Perfect Dark or whatever. It just seems like they are on the same wavelength with Xbox Game Studios.
Yes.
In terms of what they want to make and what Xbox is looking for to have in their portfolio, right? But from the other side, but here's the thing though. So I agree with that 100%. And I really do think it's going to happen. And I think they're going to take them both. Okay. I think they're going to take Crystal Dynamics and Eidos-Montréal. By the way, is it Eidos or Eidos? Maybe I've been saying it wrong for 30 plus years.
Eidos.
So Eidos it is. All right.
Yes.
Sorry, it's been bothering me since like 1995.
Aren't you from up there?
Eidos, Boom.
I know. It's Eidos, my friend.
Why are you asking
us? It's not a Canadian word. Just because they're in Montreal doesn't mean anything.
Hey,
Hey, man.
Hey.
Just asking.
Hey, yeah, sorry, you got me worked up. So
Take
anyway,
it easy, huh?
here's the thing. Now the thing is, let's say they are selling to them. My biggest problem is this: what kind of unprofessional a-holes would throw their team under the bus right before you dump them off to somebody else, or like you're selling them to somebody else? That has got to be hands down the most unprofessional thing I have ever seen. And I work in a corporate structure. However, I also don't put up with any of their crap. Okay, because the thing is, I've been in the trench. Sure, I'm in the trenches still on occasion. But you know the thing is, my head never left. Therefore, my head is always on the same wavelength as from the top guys right to the guys who's taking out the leaky garbage at the end of the night. Okay, because I've been there and done that with all of that kind of stuff. Now, the thing is, you don't talk to your team like that. You don't talk about people that work for your ass, desk jockeys, okay? They're the ones. Can you imagine these guys putting in that kind of work, putting in these hundreds and thousands of hours, putting these games together, whatever, just to have these guys dump on you publicly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you right now, if I was any of those teams, I'd walk out. I'd just say, you know what? Boom, the things I want to say right now, I can't even say. But I'll tell you one thing. I would just be, go make your own game.
Yeah.
No, I honestly,
do it better yourself. Yeah.
Mag, I think that's part of the reason they lent them to Microsoft out of fear that they would quit.
I mean, it's possible.
100%.
For sure.
They had to put them on a project.
Just keep your mouth shut? Okay, why don't you just keep your mouth shut? Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I sit and I have meetings all the time with corporate suits who have no idea what the hell they're doing and what the hell they're talking about. But the one thing that they do have is that they got a friend that got them into a job that they just happen to have money to begin with and this and that, and all they know how to do is invest. And they don't understand the process of how things get made or how things get done. This is an age-old story. It's been going on for all time. Okay, you can go to turn of the century England, and there was some jerkwad sitting in a chair up in his office with a gigantic oversized pipe and a ridiculous hat.
Jerkwad.
You know what I'm saying? And he's sitting there and be like, I am Lord Reginald III. Why aren't my people making furniture faster? And I'm like, because they're half dead and starving? And you're not giving them the tools required to, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, now you fast forward to now these guys that, like, for example, what was that other thing that really bothered me too? 5 million sales for Tomb Raider was considered a failure.
Actually, it was 7. It was 7 that was considered 7 million, and they were like, yeah, it didn't meet our expectations.
What the hell kind of expectations did they have? Okay, Everborn, you're absolutely right. Hollywood accounting 101. Okay. And when they say things like, well, we didn't make a profit. And I'm like, you didn't make a profit. The movie cost $100 million. You had a $40 million advertising budget, and the movie made $700 million and didn't make a profit. I'm sorry, guys. Stop lining your pockets that much and talk about proper dividends when it comes to excuse me. I was going to say Mark.
Talk that ScarJo talk, Mag.
You know what I'm saying? And then what it is? Okay, profit margins.
Yes.
Stop lining your pockets first and then saying you didn't meet profit margins. That's a bunch of bullshit that I'm telling you. Square's doing the same thing. I hate those guys. Okay, they're almost in the same category to me as Sony, the company, not PlayStation. Okay, guys, don't get all worked up. I already got enough people hate me after my video yesterday. But the thing is, trust me, the messages are coming in hard and fast. So, anyways, here's the thing. I hate those guys. You cannot talk to now. What kind of morale or what kind of an example are you leading? Are you showing your workers and you're expecting them to work for you, work hard for you after you say things like that to them? This is now a different age, folks. And I'll tell you,
Mag,
what's that, brother?
Maybe they don't work for you anymore. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But we're going to bring you in. We're going to bring you and Kay Asante in because you guys have the tinfoil hats at the size of the show. So we you know
what, Everborn, jump right off of me. But let me say one last thing before I pass it off. If they did indeed sell to Microsoft, or it's already been done, which I actually hope it does, because I want them to get. I almost feel like we're saving refugees. Like, I swear to God, I'd be like, guys, get the copter in there and get those kids out of there.
Get to
You know
the
what I mean?
top.
Like, that's how it feels like to me. But here's the thing.
It's
If
like when
Microsoft
we rescue Everborn from spaces. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Didn't Phil Spencer get on that phone and be like, "Hey guys,
Oh
can you
man.
calm down with the public slander of our soon-to-be people? You want to show a little public tact?
Yeah.
Like, that is not professional. That is.
If
very
I'm Phil, the price just went down.
I don't know. I think it's very unprofessional. I think it's ridiculous. I think that they've been putting out. I think those teams have been putting out quality games for years.
Yes.
And they tried to put in a Japanese model that fit with their Japanese games that did not fit with these, well, quote unquote, Western games. And I think that they didn't jive, and therefore they just maybe there's a cultural clash. Right? Where they just can't seem to get on the same page. Or we're like, well, we wanted to do this. Well, we want that. And everything. We want that Final Fantasy 14 money coming in. Right? And they're not getting that. So anyways, the thing is, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that you put out all these quality games and you talk smack to the people, the ground people, the people in the trenches who are putting in all those hours, not spending time with their families, their friends, their kids, whatever the hell it is. And you turn around and you say something like that. I would have walked out same day. Anyways, Everborn, take it away. I'm pissed.
Okay. And it can Boom. Can I jump right in, Boom?
By all means, brother.
I don't even need
I will
teeing up.
say this: as long as it's not off the chain, like last week when we start bringing in dating sim situations. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, and just excuse my French for just 1 second.
Please.
What a shitty company.
Yes.
Square.
Yes.
Like. First of all, before we even get into this, where's People Can Fly's money?
Yeah.
Where's my money, man?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where's their
Where's
money
my
at
money,
for
man?
Outriders?
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like how many times do they have to do these things? How many copies does Tomb Raider have to sell before you're happy with it? Right? And listen, I work at a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporation. I lead a team that develops 3 applications. When something goes wrong, I don't blame one of the guys that reports to me. I say I effed up or we effed up. Not, well, this would have been better if this guy did his job. Right? How does that exude leadership in any way? It's just such like a snake move. Before we even get into speculation town, just think about that for a second. Anybody that leads teams, think about that idea of offloading the responsibility and the blame when something goes bad. It's not we messed up, it's they messed up. And the only reason that we messed up is because we chose those a-holes to do it.
Yes.
So top scum. But now, on to speculation town, where it's always sunny. Now, what if we are living in a world where, like I said, old Phil, he sends his generals out there and he says, bring them home. Now, we know Sarabon is working on this Sega deal for us.
Yes. But
what if Daryl Gallagher over there is working on bringing in Crystal Dynamics and maybe all the studios that Square doesn't want anymore? Because think about it, they let go, like we said, they let go of IO Interactive.
Yep.
They're not happy with the performance of Tomb Raider. That's why we haven't gotten a 4th one.
Yep.
Right. They're just trying. They claim they took a bath on Avengers, so they say, right? And Guardians is doing well with the critics, but let's see how well it sells, because it seems like they've already sullied that brand for that licensing
deal. It only takes a few of us that have noticed how good it is, and we're telling the others. But by and large, the public will see the first Avengers and go, nah, we don't want more of that.
Listen, Forza came out and nobody's talking about Guardians anymore. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah,
right.
Apparently 7 million's not good enough, so I don't think it's going to sell 7 million.
This is
Right.
what I'm saying. And
Well, I
they,
mean, that it's only the
Avengers
Western
did not
companies.
sell very well, and Guardians again. I'm telling you something right now. It's my biggest surprise of the year. It's going to be in my
great game.
top 10.
Yeah.
The story, I've said this, and James Gunn favorited my tweet. The writing is James Gunn level good. Okay, I'll say that. And you know something? It's not going to sell 7 million copies. It's probably going to sell around 3.5.
But here's the difference. They own the Tomb Raider IP, and 7 million wasn't enough.
Yep.
How much of that? How much of a cut do you think Marvel gets from this?
Exactly.
30%, maybe more.
Exactly.
Because they not cheap.
No, Marvel's
So-
expensive. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again, is there a world where Square, the one of the worst companies out there, is just like, you know what? I'm done with this. And again, it makes so much sense, because if they would really work for Microsoft in terms of having studios that specialize in these kind of what COG would call just ones.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The third person over the shoulder story driven thing. Because again, we've already proven Xbox is all about variety, but there's one place, well, two places where they're lacking. It's fighting games and these third person action adventures. And they know they need that because they want to scratch that itch. So it makes almost too much sense for it not to work. And I really think, like, the idea that they're just lending out Crystal Dynamics.
It's preposterous just even thinking about it.
But
Yeah.
I really feel like there's just an announcement on the way. And you know, we've heard the rumors that they're trying studios out. You know, if this Perfect Dark thing goes well, I think we're in business. And the question is, do they live on as Crystal Dynamics, or do they just become a part of the initiative?
No, I think the initiative is going to stay what it is. There's a reason why the team is small. Daryl's talked about they want to stay agile. What the initiative is always going to be is that small team that starts the ground level building, brings another team in. Guys, okay, you guys are going to finish up. This is the groundwork. And
now let me. I'm just the gear, the imagination station. The imagination train has left the station. What if Crystal Dynamics comes aboard Xbox Game Studios, and they help other teams, and they're kind of the
new ninjas?
Yeah, the XDev for Microsoft.
They very well
the guys
could be.
that do the set pieces and the story elements.
Yeah, you know. Well, here's the thing. The reason why I don't think that I mean, you're onto something. It could happen. The reason why I think Microsoft wouldn't do that is because what we've seen is they're buying these teams and they're leaving them be. Go
They want
what you
like
guys go.
flexibility.
You guys, yes.
You want them all to look exactly the same. That's why Sony has that signature, because they have that team. You don't want everything to look the same. Right?
And you got to think about this too. You know, I mean, I know it's a different topic for a different day, but you can see now that developers can go wherever the heck they want to, especially in this new era of remote work. It's a lot more difficult for people to retain talent if they don't give them their people.
I'm trying to explain that to the guys in my office now if they try to tell us to come back.
Yeah, no, it applies not just to gaming, it applies across the board in the world. And it's like, you know, now that people have learned how to work remote, it's like, all right, well, you don't got me no more. You know, if it's not like I'm just limited to what I can drive to. I can go work for different companies, or, you know, around the world, maybe. You know,
Papa's trying to get this house in Florida.
You know, so yeah, and that's the
Come on down.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
It's an underrated thing, though, when you think about what you know, like Microsoft Gaming created time, and I've heard, but I think it's some of the, you know, the pushbacks somewhat reasonable, but I think people got to understand we're not in the same era anymore. And you know, when you kind of create this environment where, you know, the top people in the world in their professions feel like they can go there and they can build maybe the things they want to build and have that sort of freedom, I think you're going to continue to attract more people over the long term. So yeah, I don't see them ever really doing that with a studio like that. Like maybe you could start up a support studio, and that's a way people come in or something like that. But in terms of Crystal Dynamics ever becoming just a support studio, I doubt it. I feel like, you know, the chance for them, especially in the territory they're at, they're in an area where there is a lot of very established, experienced, you know, high level people. And I think you want to continue. And then, you know, you're seeing that work out. You know, you saw it work out for the initiative initially with their initial hiring spree. And, you know, I know Obsidian and Exile are both also, you know, bringing in a lot of talent. So yeah, I don't. That's a different story, but I think it's something to keep in mind.
Can I add something? I know that Everborn is heading towards that tinfoil hat place, and I kind of want to add to that tinfoil hat place. And OBM, you can bring us back to earth if necessary. We did this back and forth on our show last Saturday, and I think we're going there the same way. So I will let you continue, Everborn. But here's my question, and OBM, this is a genuine question from me. Okay, these guys, Square. Established scumbags, all of that. Yes,
top
well
scum.
established.
Top
scum, not medium scum. Top scum.
No, top.
Okay.
Top of the top.
Top of the scum line. Yes. So they are also a publicly traded company, are they not?
Yeah.
Okay. So their most important people there are their investors, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
They've already gotten rid of IO Interactive, right?
Yep.
And since they got rid of IO Interactive, IO has been nothing but successful.
Yes,
right?
that is absolutely correct. Yes.
And now, and as you've seen, then Tomb Raider is not good enough. This game, not good enough. Avengers, right? So, is there a world where they go into a room and they speak to Scott Amos and Ron Greenberg? Those are the studio heads of Crystal Dynamic, and go, look, we have two choices here, two hard choices. Because we are about that dough, you're not performing, and we might have to close your studio. Or, hey, we have this Microsoft company here who's ready to work with you, blah, 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 blah. But when we do that, our taskmasters will look at us and go, what the hell's going on here with you guys? You know, you don't seem to be happy with any of your talent. You know, you want us to be happy and continue to invest in y'all, but you guys just keep throwing these people left and right here and there. It never seems to work out, right? So, yeah, we possibly could sell to Microsoft, but before we cut the limb off, how about we televise the fact that the limb is not working for us real well?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Greenberg, Rosenberg. I'm sorry, Amos. Y'all gonna look like scum for a little while. Y'all gonna get a little upset by what we have to say.
But nobody really blames them.
Why would you?
But hold on. That's the only, because they are about the money. They're not about the performance of the games. They're not about creative. They're only about the money. Okay. And if they come out real quick and they're like, oh, you know, we're gonna get rid of these guys, the stock could tank.
Yes.
Because once again, well, not necessarily tank, but it's a death by 1,000 cuts. They never seem to be able to get it right.
So
how about we televise the fact that this arm is bleeding and we want to cut it off before they cut it off?
So what Kay is saying is that you basically prime the pump so that any skittish investors that may not want to sell will
because they have their taskmasters as well.
Yeah, I mean,
they have their taskmasters. You can't just be like, oh yeah, we're selling now out of nowhere. You must televise that it's not working out. And I know they're a bunch of scumbags, and I know the way they handle it is not cool, but maybe Rosenberg and Amos know that this is happening because they know that at the end of the day, you know, Booty's gonna let them do what they do.
Yes.
Is this like when you start planting seeds with your mom before you get a divorce or something like that?
Exactly. You know, trust us. The alternative is us having to close the studio. We don't want to do that.
She isn't. She's not good, Ma.
You're gonna hate us in the short term, but in the long run, you'll be beneficial. It'll be beneficial for you. You'll have a new taskmaster at Microsoft,
I'll be better with the
and
kids.
They seem to be great. Right.
Yeah.
And we'll also be happy because we won't have the bleeding when we say we're getting rid of you guys. So how about y'all just be quiet? Let us be our evil, let's play our part.
I don't.
And in the
I don't
long
think
run,
it's that,
we'll
I
all
don't
be
think it's
fine.
that orchestrated, but I mean, you have to realize sometimes companies actually their stocks go up when they cut a bunch of people, when they
Yes,
cut
yes,
costs.
yes, yes.
So there is that. I do hear what you're saying, though. I mean, you could say there's it might
Because that's the only thing that makes sense. How
Well,
is it that a company who's publicly
discount-
traded?
it could
Don't
yeah.
discount that they're just scumbags. You can't.
No,
You know,
but
the thing
listen,
is,
This is that
Asante's
Occam's
right.
razor. They just
Listen,
suck.
look,
They just
you can
suck.
call them scumbags all you want, but scumbags are smart. They are scumbags who are all about the dough. And
Yes.
you
Yeah,
do not
absolutely.
talk smack about your own people unless you have something else going on here. There's no other logical explanation for them to come out of their for themselves and just speak so ill of their own employees.
Asante,
Unless
you're
they're trying to
100%
They're
telegraph
just
something.
horrible employers.
right. But here's
Yeah.
the thing, though. You notice that it seems to only be the Western companies they're doing this to.
Yes,
That's
a
my
great
biggest
point.
problem right now. I think, I mean, I know people throw around some words these days, everything's whatever.
It's scumbaggery, I think. That's what I think.
But here's the thing. Why is it only the Western companies? And you just said, and I agreed with everything you said, because I think, Asante, you 100% you're right. I think that absolutely makes sense. However, at the same time, I also have to wonder if they're all about the dough. That 7 million sales of a game was not enough to them. I think they're full of shit. I think that what they're doing is putting a lot of pressure on these Western companies because they want to get rid of them. And now they're treating them like that, the unwanted stray dog. And
So,
I
apologize.
see them treating their Japanese
I need
companies
to
like this.
put that in there. Pause. Splendiferous. I'm sorry. Pause. Mr. Booty. Mr. Matt Booty. Forgive me.
No, dude. When you said that, by the way, Asante, when you said that, you're like, and that's when the booty takes control or something. I almost pissed myself. But yeah, that was fantastic.
Pause. But that is
gaming
our
circle. He was like, I can't wait to get my hands on the sticks, and I was just like, what are we doing here, man?
these sticks right here. Pause, man. Pause. Anyway,
sorry.
No, but honestly, it's the only thing. If one, their guiding light is money. It always has been. They're not decent. They're not this. They're not. They are about the money. Look at Square. What Square does with Microsoft and Sony right now. They're the only ones. Sega's done a little bit of that, but Square is solid in the. You got the bag. Oh, if you do, then Final Fantasy still stays there.
You're right.
Oh, you got the bag? Well, here's Outriders. Oh, Outriders did great 5 minutes ago until the creators of Outriders asked for their money. Then all of a sudden,
you
they
ever
do so
work
well.
for when you're younger and you work for those
It's
like
about the
really
money.
sleazy like employers, those all cash
Yes.
employers, and they're counting money in front of you,
Yes.
smoking a cigar. Like, yeah, man, we didn't really make anything this week. Can't really pay you.
That's how I went and bought my first Genesis game with my own money. I got paid under the table. I was like, oh, that was so nice of them to do that.
See, everyone, you haven't played GTA 5. There is a character in GTA 5 who's the car salesman, who's just like, that's him. That's this right now.
No, but before we move on though, like I do.
You ever
wanna
played GTA
point-
5, bro?
Never played it.
That's a whole different beast. That's a whole different.
Anyway,
As he holds his head.
No, but the thing is, I would love the idea of Microsoft as Square packaging up the Western studios. Microsoft picks them up, and now they have that pedigree of developers, even if it doesn't come with the IP. Because if it doesn't come with the IP, that means they come cheap. That means you're just doing an acqui-hire. Right? If it does come with the IPs, then you're talking about billions of dollars in the purchase. But without the IPs, maybe you get all three studios.
Mark my words,
$200
everyone.
million.
This is strategic scumbaggery. That's what this is.
Right.
Mark my word.
But the point I'm making, all that being said, imagine Eidos, IO Interactive, and Crystal Dynamics for once working on what they want.
Yes.
Right? They want to make a new IP.
They would
Cool.
flourish.
They want
Tell you
to
right now.
take up an existing IP. That would be amazing because the caliber and quality of what they do, in my opinion, is undeniable. Right?
Yep.
And this is why I think, aside from the whole, Xbox fan thing, just the idea that if they had a home at Xbox Game Studios that they could just work on what they want is mouthwatering to me.
People should play Avengers. Play Avengers. As soon as you see the war table, dodge that stuff like the Matrix. But still, play Avengers.
As soon as you see the war table, go straight into the Black Panther story.
That's right. Like that campaign shows you what they can do. Now, if they stripped that campaign like bare of all of the gaming as a service model and all of that, and just made it a straight story like
Guardians.
Guardians is right now, you'd have like competing stories that are tip of the spear campaign games, like really, really, really good. I left that story and I played it twice. I fully beat the campaign on PS5, PS4, PS5, and I also beat the campaign again with Game Pass.
Can we talk about
you leave that game? I'm sorry, let me just finish. You leave that game seriously a Kamala Khan stand. Like they perfectly
huge fan of her.
Loved it.
They crafted a Marvel story that was undeniable. I'm sorry, Everborn, continue.
No. I was just saying how they announced that Spider-Man is coming this month, and like nobody.
Oh yeah,
cared.
dropped like a
Remember how upset we were about all that?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But listen, let's get the Dutch in on the conversation. Dutch, everyone has had such amazing points. I think personally, the writing's on the wall. I think the team, both at Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, fill a specific genre need that's missing from the portfolio. I think that they are talented enough that they could create their own IP. Because, like I said, we have heard, and again, folks, speculation town, that Crystal Dynamics pitched 3 projects, folks, to Square Enix. Not 1, not 2, but 3, and they were denied for each one. Now, obviously, if they come over in a purchase, those new IPs or new ideas could potentially be raked and fertilized and grown into original IPs for Xbox. Where do you personally fall on the deal potentially being done when you see this thrashing publicly?
Personally, the Square Enix, I mean, they have literally zero room to talk. Their games have been at most stages lackluster. I mean, they with regards Final Fantasy specifically, I mean, if you have a look at the history of their development, it's been just hilarious. I'm a massive Final Fantasy fan, and honestly, because with it being a Final Fantasy fan, it's an absolute running joke that we say, look, they just advertised a new Final Fantasy 16. We'll see that next generation then, yeah? Because it's not coming out this gen. It's 100% it's not coming out this gen. It took them the best part of a decade to get Final Fantasy 15 out.
Yes.
And that was originally meant to be Final Fantasy 13 versus 2. And then it got changed.
Love the naming conventions, man.
Yeah.
Love those naming conventions.
But it's they haven't got room to talk, and the fact that they're trying to now push Crystal Dynamics under the bus. It wasn't Crystal Dynamics' idea to put a games as a service. Of course it wasn't. That was all to do with the big bosses, i.e. Square Enix.
Yes.
And because it didn't work, and who are they going to blame? Of course they're going to blame the developers. They're not going to blame themselves, because why would they? They just push the little man under the bus. We'll push the developers under. The big man's not going to take the fall for this one. But I guarantee, just like EA, when Battlefront had the massive issues, Disney would have spoken to Square Enix and said, "That's not good enough." And it's not just we wouldn't have just been the fan backlash when they started putting pay to win stuff into Avengers either. But I guarantee Disney would have said, "Did you not learn the lesson when EA did this with Battlefront? Like, when you've nearly crippled a major franchise with Star Wars, and now you're trying to do it with Avengers
at that." Yeah.
And it's Avengers is the one of, if not the biggest, alongside Star Wars, the biggest franchise at Disney. We'll not say Frozen, but of course we know that's one of them. But in terms of actual major IPs, the Marvel's Avenger IP, any dev worth their salt would love a chance, love a crack at something to do with that. And I think Square Enix have just played the easy card and just thought, we're just going to blame the devs. We're not going to take the fall for this.
Your
we're just going
own
to blame
devs.
Yeah, they own
Yeah.
their own devs. It's absolutely insanity, and this is the same developers that brought out the insanely well respected recent Tomb Raider trilogy.
Yep.
In terms of graphical fidelity, it was pretty much a benchmark. The level of detail in those worlds, the gameplay, the stories were pretty decent. They're well respected. They're a really, really, really good studio. And obviously, then just kind of just pushing them under a bus and basically saying they're not good enough. It's not them that's not good enough. It's your stewardship of that studio that's not good enough. They have to reflect themselves in the mirror, learn from your mistakes. But unfortunately, the way they ran, which has been the case for a number of years now, Square Enix, is just ridiculous. Like I say, I have to keep bringing it back as the way they handle the Final Fantasy IP, and just the way that the development happens on that. I mean, I keep mentioning it, but Final Fantasy 15 had, I think, 3 lead or studio heads or lead developers throughout the entirety of that. The ideas changed from time to time all the way through. I mean, God knows how long Kingdom Hearts 3 was actually in development prior to it being released eventually. But both of them ended up being, even though the games were really good, in my opinion, both the games were really, really good. There were some sections of it where you could see that they ended up forcing the game out. Final Fantasy 15 specifically had the last 2 chapters of the game were literally just will funnel you down to the end because they had to get the game out. It wasn't a case of just letting the developers finish what they had actually started. They just wanted the game out, just do it, get it done. Which is why you've seen quite a lot of the major players that used to work at Square leave and go and start their own things and do their own projects. Because
hey, Dutch.
Yeah.
Just quick question: have they ever publicly castigated their Eastern studios?
Thank you.
Nope.
No, thank you.
No, they have
I was
not.
just checking. I knew the answer to that.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, they make
That
a
is
lot
where
of
the
money.
bread is buttered. What are you going to talk about? Like that's
No,
where
they
the
have-
bread
they do
comes
have-
from. Come on,
They
now.
haven't publicly done it. They have had internal feuds with the developers. Like I say,
But
Final
that's
Fantasy is
what
one of
these
the
things
key
are
ones.
for.
Yeah.
There should be
Yeah.
a part of internal reviews when
Oh, yeah.
something doesn't work out. You don't go and make a public press release
Oh, definitely
throwing
not.
your own people under the bus.
Definitely not.
Unless you're trying to tell your investors to expect some cuts. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
No, you're right, but that's such a scummy way of doing it, man. No
Yeah.
Hey,
tact.
man.
It's deplorable.
That's all it's
at
about. It's
best.
about the ducats, baby. It's about the ducats, right?
Free CD.
Well, to be
Free
fair, like if we
CD.
think
Hey, at least,
about it,
at least he
I'll go
cut the
protest.
first part off too, because if he had just said free crystal, it would have been a whole different situation. Let's move on. All right.
I'm getting a
Right.
T-shirt made. Free
But
CD.
yeah, see, Crystal Dynamics deserve better.
Uh-huh.
They do. They really
For
honestly
sure.
deserve better, and I completely agree. I think they'd be better off outside of Square Enix, to be honest. And that's not just from a standpoint of where they are, but Square. It hasn't been ran correctly for a number of years now. Unfortunately, the internal politics at Square Enix has been that way for a while. I'm sure anybody reporting on Square for a number of years or have had a chance to report on Square knows about the many issues that studios went through with internal politics and the different developers, studio heads, and minds that try to create their games. That goes, like I say, throughout all of the Final Fantasy franchise, the Kingdom Hearts franchise. They're major and focus IPs, should we say. And then they treat these, like you say, they treat these Western studios just that, just like they do with Western companies. They essentially look down on them. They are outsiders. They are not one of us. And they don't treat them the same as they do their own internal studios. It's just it is a shame, and I'd like to see Square, but it's not going to happen again. It's the way they're doing things. I'd like to see them book their ideas up and actually get things done properly, but they're not going to do that. They're going to point fingers on anybody other than themselves.
Yep.
So yeah, I think you're right. Writing is on the wall. Crystal Dynamics is going to go. IOI is free, and obviously happily bringing out games that are well universally praised. And I think Crystal Dynamics will get back to that, not under the shackles of Square. And I think who else but to let them lead their own development better and give them free reign than Microsoft.
And look at how
that with a number of
Microsoft
studios
is talking them up, whereas their previous employers.
Yeah. Are we going to Joe? Are we going to go to Joe? Please go to Joe. I want to hear this, Joe.
I don't want to get
that one on
DCMA joint. I was going to play it. I was going to play it on the
No,
phone.
don't play it. Don't play it.
But you've seen. I was going to say you've seen this though from everybody who's recently let's say within the last 2 years been acquired by Microsoft, and all of them and what they say about now working under them as a company. We've not only have we had kind of the full backing of the company, but we've had the free reign to kind of bring our vision to life, bring our ideas to life. They've trusted us to do what we need to do to get our vision out. Again, we see with Psychonauts 2, if it wasn't for the fact that Microsoft did acquire them, the game wouldn't be anywhere near what it was today.
Yep, 100%.
That's just one example of many. Ninja Theory, Microsoft not only have they just let them get on with the 3 projects they have currently in development, but they've built them a brand new studio from the ground up to be able to do that with the state-of-the-art equipment that they require to do to achieve their goal and their vision for their games. Obviously, that's essentially one of the world-leading mocap studios, audio studios. Everything they could possibly require, Microsoft has given them so they can hit their vision. Now, if that isn't something that a studio is looking for, they'd be absolutely mad. I think Crystal Dynamics looking in, and if Microsoft is speaking to them, they'd be thinking, right, okay, I'm going to go and speak to the head of Ninja Theory here. I'm going to speak to Tim Schafer, and I'm going to ask their opinions. Like, what's it like working for Microsoft?
Well, perfect example. I think the reason why there's even a connection here and why is because of the leader of the initiative. He obviously worked at Crystal Dynamics, and there's a relationship there.
You've got to think we are going back, but you've got to think of their relationship with regards to the Tomb Raider games, the most recent trilogy. Obviously, they had the kind of timed exclusivity on several of the games.
A little bit of it, I thought, right? Didn't Microsoft fund a bit of that first?
They funded a significant amount.
100 million, wasn't it?
It was a hefty amount of money that they spent.
And Square overcharged them because, again, they're a horrible company.
Well, listen, folks, we are 2:15 into the show. I do want to get Cybernox's opinion on this, and then we will get everyone out of here. I got to catch up on some of the super chats, and then we'll get everyone's final opinions. Cyber, what do you think of the chances that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos potentially have already joined? We just have not heard about it yet.
If it's something that's potentially could happen, I'm sure Microsoft is going to make it happen because they would be a great fit for Xbox. Xbox
Announced
Studios
in February.
Yeah, hey, potentially so.
Start the year off the right foot.
If you look at it, I think this what came out of this story is that Crystal Dynamics were actually the winners of this whole thing. Everybody saw exactly through what Square Enix was doing. The problem here was it wasn't the studio, it was the fact that the Avengers game was a game as a service instead of a single player experience that a lot of people were hoping for. They right from the start, they were announcing exclusivity. Spider-Man was only coming out on PlayStation and so forth, and so many other things. Crystal Dynamics is more incapable of making a good game. They've proven that with the Tomb Raider series. They did a tremendous job with that. And we know that it was all the douchebaggery, all the greediness, all they wanted was their bottom line to fatten up their pockets. And because that didn't happen, they had to throw someone on the bus. And that just happened to be Crystal Dynamics. But everybody sees through it. It's not like they're not capable of making a good game. They could have potentially even made a good game as a games as a service game if given the proper time, the right resources, and so forth. So I'll keep it short because I know we're over the 2-hour mark here. But yeah, I think Crystal Dynamic is actually receiving positive news and receiving positive feedback after this news came out, because everybody who's in the know on these things, we see right through it. So yeah.
I mean, I just want to say, I don't even need them to come with it would be great if it came with Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and those things, but I don't need them to come with the IP, because I would love to see them for once work on what they want and just build something new.
You want to see some new IPs, right?
Yeah.
I do too, but it come with Tomb Raider.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think the Tomb Raider would come with them, simply because who would make it for them? Right? Who would make the game for them? I think that I think the Hitman IP would come with it. I think this is where you get Crystal to sign on, Eidos to sign on, and get IO to sign on. And could you just imagine those three studios that are known for making single player experiences? They could logistically, in one failed acquisition, really change the dynamic of how people, because again, Matt Booty has already said it. Phil has said it. They don't want to make cookie cutter Sony games. They want to make their own type of single player games. And these three studios bring an incredible amount of talent, storied history with them, and potentially IPs that could very well. I mean, just imagine Deus Ex, Hitman, and Tomb Raider being Microsoft first-party IPs. I mean, just saying it gives me goosebumps. On top of what they already own, Soul Reaver on top of that, which is again. It could be a 2-hour podcast on its own, folks, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had over 300 people the entire show. I got to just catch up on the super chats. We have Brett Bingham drops not one, but two $5 super chats. Thank you for the generosity, Brett. He says, the only bug I've encountered is achievement issues, and Sony shills were using the achievements to data mine to see if the 1.5 million players were legit. Shaking my head. I mean, man, those internet detectives, they got no time they got too much time on their hands. His second super chat says, Square Enix getting out before the announcement they sold Crystal Dynamics to Microsoft to legitimize why they sold them. In reality, SE is to blame. 100%. They are absolutely to blame. Michael Culloch drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, if Microsoft has a shot at CD and Eidos, by all means, pull the trigger. I'd love to see Deus Ex get some love. Yes, me too. I loved the first one. Not Deus so much the second one. Mr. Kima drops a $5 super chat, and actually he says this: it's part of the Japanese culture to publicly shame executives, workers when they don't perform. I haven't heard that. I mean, if you have, I mean, maybe that is a thing, but that's very unfortunate that they really did what they did. I thought it was such low class. Mm-hmm. Michael Culloch drops an additional. Wow. Thank you so much, Mike, for the additional $5 super chat. Says, I do still think that studios like Remedy and Bungie would be a better fit, though, considering having both having a history and cultural alignment with Xbox, in my opinion. I mean, those could still come as well. It says Don Otaku, thanks for being here, Don. He drops a $5 super chat and he says Tri-Ace with Star Ocean has put out multiple busts, but Square Enix has never came out and said anything about them, and that's probably because they are a part of the Western arm of the Eastern arm of that division.
Which studio is that?
He says Tri-Ace, who does the Star Ocean franchise. But we have Brian Hopkins. Hey, Brian, thanks for being here, brother. He drops a $5 super chat and says, great panel tonight and great conversation. Always a good time hanging out with you guys and the chat on a Monday evening. Thanks for the show. Well, thank you, brother. We definitely appreciate that. And without the 300 plus people here, we wouldn't have a show. But you know what? You know who else we wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for these amazing men that are here today, including our guest. Obviously, you can write as many scripts as you want. You can go out and make as many great thumbnails as you want. But unless you have the people that want to be here to talk about games, you don't have a show. And I'm very, very lucky, very, very fortunate to have this group of incredible community members and content creators here. So let's get to the outros. We'll start first with One Bad Mother. Cannot wait to see your coverage that is going to be coming when Halo Infinite is released in a couple of weeks. I know that it's going to be top priority for you personally. It's one of your favorite franchise. Brother, please tell everyone about Xbox Era, but more importantly, tell them where they can reach out to you on social media and potentially strike up a conversation.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Boom. I appreciate being here. It was a lot of fun. The topics today were great. First off, I do want to preemptively, apologize. As soon as I get done with all this, I'm going to bolt. I think I'm going to pick up my daughter. So,
Yes.
But I did want to say, again, thanks again for having us here. If you guys who are listening, obviously, if you play on Xbox, hopefully you've checked out Xbox Era already. We have a website, bustling forums, which are growing. So lots of, if you ever want to just chat without the trolling, there's a good place to go.
Yes.
Also, we got content coming, and I'm kind of hesitant because I've sort of committed something to John, and it is a cool piece that should be ready by Monday, but I won't sleep much if this ends up happening. So hopefully keep a lookout. Boom, I'll send it over.
Yes, please. I help you promote it. By all means, drop it in the DM, brother.
All right, man. Yeah, definitely will. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of stuff coming up. It's going to be a busy time of year. There's a lot of great things coming up. And then obviously Halo, right? So we're going to have a lot of content there. And also on that note, I do co-host a show called You Had Me at Halo underneath the Xbox Era umbrella. That's a bi-weekly show. We'll be having one this Thursday. It's usually on Thursdays at night, usually around 8 o'clock. So if you're a Halo fan, come and check us out there. We'll talk about some of the latest happenings with Halo, and our panel's very knowledgeable about a lot of details and maybe a lot of other people miss. So other than that, guys, great to always see you. Like I said, I hate to kind of come by.
No, that's all right, brother. We got family first, brother, but thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Obviously, we love having you on the show, and we look forward to having you come back maybe right after Halo to give us your impressions and your opinions.
Absolutely, man. I always got, whenever somebody says Halo, the bat signal goes up. I can always talk about Halo. So, but yeah, I hate to eat and run.
Nah, that's right, brother. Listen, go take care of family. Thanks again. And it was great talking with you, brother. Have a great night. Be safe, dude.
It was great seeing everybody. I hope everybody has a great night. See you soon.
You as well, brother. The Wandering Dutch, let's get you on out of here, brother. It's super late where you are, or super early, depending on which way you go. Dutch, thank you so much. Please, by all means, tell everyone about the show you have coming up this Wednesday. Also, tell everyone where they can come and help you move on to the 2, 3, 5, and 10,000 subscribers for your incredible YouTube channel. And also, where can people check out these incredible artwork-like pictures you've been taking in Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon 5?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's a great show again. Obviously, love speaking about Forza. This week's episode of Midweek Mix-Up, which you'll find on my channel, will be centered specifically around Forza Horizon 5, no doubt. We have an entire crew who is very into racing. So we'll be going in depth on our thoughts on that one. Erwin, of course, as you know, he's a sim racer. He's got the Fanatec wheel and the direct drive and everything like that. So he loves everything to do with that. He's very knowledgeable with all that stuff. I'm always on the controller, so I'm a little bit different. But so there's going to be a lot of more in-depth conversations around how some of the more technical aspects of the racing part of that game, as well as just kind of our overall impressions of it so far. You can find my photos on Twitter at Wondering Dutch as usual. Fire
photos, bro. Those, I'm telling you, they are sick.
I'll keep adding them up. I do have another video actually going up onto the channel. Will be tomorrow, and that is I did a dual perspective hot lap of the Goliath race on Forza Horizon 5. Going up in 4K 60, the best quality it can be, onto the channel there. So you've got the outside view with no HUD or anything like that, so you can kind of enjoy the visuals, and a cockpit view as well. Which is down on the left hand side. So it's a nice kind of 15-minute video, but awesome show, awesome panel as usual. OBM, great to have him on as usual. Looking forward again till next week. Thanks everybody.
You got it, brother. And Mag, let's get you an ad here. I know you got to get up super early as well. Thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow night, you're going to be on another show. Please tell everyone about that. And more importantly, where can people check out your latest and zaniest video of the month?
Yes, well, guys, it was a great show tonight. OBM, a great guest. And, of course, this all-star panel. You guys are all amazing. And just in chat, you guys are incredible. Thank you guys for a great show. It was a lot of fun. That second topic tonight was great. It was a lot of great debate in there. So, anyways, you can follow your middle-aged game guy. That's with a GY at the end, of course. Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5. I am the Mag. That's all in capitals. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. But, yes, you want to check out a couple of my videos? I'm doing that. 10 p.m. Tuesday nights as well. Gaming After Dark with Noof Nukem, Titan Drago, and usually a special guest. And my videos are doing quite well. Very happy about that. And people keep saying, why aren't you on YouTube? Why aren't you on TikTok? And I said, well, 2 reasons. 1, I don't like the restraints of YouTube. And 2, TikTok, I don't trust the Chinese government. So therefore, I'm right on Twitter. And I know that just sounds like splitting hairs, but hey, that's how I feel. So you want to find my content, you will find it there on Twitter. But at least for now, anyway. But really, like I said, really happy with the last one. I just checked, actually. I just crossed about 225,000 views. So
sweet baby Jesus.
Very, very happy. And
well deserved.
Thank you. And I just got 500 new followers. So I'm really happy about that too. So I'm happy where I am, and I'm happy to entertain, and I'm really, really just here to have a great time. But anyways, guys, great show. Everybody have a lovely evening and good night.
Thank you so much, brother. And Kay Asante, brother, tell everyone about the Gaming Circle podcast, which is on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll let Everborn talk about his Batman slander on the Thursday show, which, by the way, there's a ton of Marvel news. The new Spider-Man No Way Home poster dropped. If you the internet detectives have been out there, all you gotta do is look closely,
already out there.
And you see the Green Goblin in the background.
Is going to be so packed, stacked, I should say. And you have to go see Eternals because it's going to get spoiled on Thursday. I'm just letting you know.
Okay. For sure. But
I know.
Asante, talk about where can people check out your show, and more importantly, check out on the socials.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I know a lot of people have been checking out. Our show has been growing exponentially, which is pretty awesome. Like, lots of people have been giving feedback, and we have more people watching the show live and tuning in later than ever before. So thank you, all of you who come check it out. People who are sharing, who are subscribing, who are making sure they share it out on Twitter and whatnot. You guys are helping us grow. The numbers are just like astronomical every week. So thank you guys so much. For those who haven't checked it out, a little bit of the back and forth you saw with my man Everborn Saga and I. That's what we do on Saturday. Last Saturday was very fun. We even had Mr. Boomstick himself jump in and add to some of the debauchery as we do. I appreciate everybody who tunes in and checks it out. I enjoy doing this. It's so much fun, and it humbles me that people put me in these lists and they tell me how much they appreciate it and how it's become part of their rotation.
Nice. It's nice.
It really does.
Yeah.
It keeps me working, keeps me wanting to do more of it, and keeps me wanting to make it bigger and better. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will pass it to Cyber, but I will say Cyber was also really kind enough to have me on the Xbox Game Pass Club last week, and we played the hell out of Halo 1. It's Halo CE. It was awesome. We got our legendary butts kicked, but we enjoyed ourselves all the way. I think he's going to have part 2
we kicked some butt
soon.
too.
We definitely did do that. We did do that. I think part 2 is going to come up next week. So go ahead and speak to that. But thank you guys so much. TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation. Not giving you my social security, so screw you with the Switch. And I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. And Cyber, let's get you on out of here, brother. And we'll save everyone for last because he's got to push his obviously Kickstarter. But Cyber, tell everyone about the Xbox Game Pass Club that has come back, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Absolutely. I always enjoy being here on Primetime with you guys. I love you all you guys. Chad, you guys are great as always. Always have fun. I'm consistently smiling here. I have like the worst poker face because I'm laughing at the chat. You guys see me smiling. But anyways, Kay Asante, I really appreciate you coming to Xbox Game Pass Club last Friday. We started off dedicating this whole month to Halo. We're trying to run all of the campaigns. We started off with the Halo Combat Evolved, and we learned a lot of things from each other. It was fun. There was a couple levels there that kids on there was like, oh, you could do, this, and this. And I was like, I never knew that. And it was a great. If you want to see part 1, it's already up on the channel. We're gonna start part 2 actually today. I got Cotton McCast. You guys know he comes on the show all the time.
Yeah.
And we're gonna play a little bit tonight too. And then I'm gonna try to do the schedule as Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we're gonna play a bunch of games. So I'm gonna try to have different guests so we can talk about the Halo history, how people feel about Halo, and then once we got into the later Halos where you can do 4-player co-op, then there'll be I'll have multiple guests on. But Keisante, you're definitely coming back. I hope you can come back, and we'll continue our legendary playthrough. Cyberknock's everywhere, guys, and I don't know why Mag did this. He did some weird movement. Where's his traditional? Come on, Mag.
I can't fit on the screen. I'll knock the microphone over.
Anyways, guys, it's always fun here. I love talking game with you guys, and I'll see you guys next Monday.
And of course, thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And Everborn Saga, picture wares, brother. Tell everyone about your Kickstarter that you just that has already hit its goal, and tell everyone where they can reach out to you on the socials.
All right, yeah. So you can catch me at Everborn Saga everywhere. I just want to make sure I put the link to the Kickstarter in the chat. Nice. But one of the places you can catch me at is Everborn Saga on YouTube. Now, right now, Mr. K and Sante and I are in a friendly competition because we do 2 shows together.
Always does.
Aside from this one, and we do one on his channel and one on my channel. And I was very upset to find out that this man has like 40 more followers than I do, subscribers on his YouTube page.
Consistency.
Now, there are 174 people in here. So I would ask
that you
guys go to Everborn Saga on YouTube and subscribe to that page. Because this is a travesty if I have ever seen one. This is like Watergate, people. I don't know how it happened.
Bro.
I think some of his followers are fake. I don't know. Something's going on. Now,
are you saying there's fake numbers here? Is there fake news that we're talking about?
I've seen worse happen before. So let's be on the right side of truth, justice, and the American way, and let us get above Mr. K. Asante's channel, because I will not be able to look him in the face this weekend if it gets any worse. Now, aside from that, this Thursday on this channel that I just told you to subscribe to, we are doing On the Reel, and we took off last week because family stuff, plus I was getting ready to launch the Kickstarter. See, Felix, you already subscribed. You are a proper soldier, sir. I appreciate you. Well done. All right, yes. So we're getting there, but there's still 176 more people that I would love to see subscribe. Now, we are going to be talking about The Harder They Fall. Amazing film. It's a Western, if you're ever into Westerns. Now, we are also going to be discussing Eternals and why, with this new context, Thanos was right. And that end credit scene, oh boy. So we're going to have spoiler talks on Eternals and The Harder They Fall. And obviously, we're going to talk about the Sinister Six and that new Spider-Man poster. And there's so much more going on there. But on to the Kickstarter. Like I said, the link is in the chat. I would love it if you guys would just check it out. And even if you can't support, sharing it out is enough. Yeah. So check out what we have going on there. I think it is our best work to date. This is the sixth book that we have produced. And you can get up to date with all those books, plus some cool like posters and like hats and merch and things, and there are add-ons to the rewards. So if you want to get anything, you can get it through there. So please check out that campaign. We hit our goal in less than 24 hours, and now we are on to the stretch goal, because I want to upgrade everyone. If we hit that stretch goal, everyone gets upgraded to a limited print run of the hardcover edition of Prince of Arcadia Ultimate Edition Book 2. And that has even 20 bonus pages of content. So please check that out, or at the very least, share it out. And I do, again, want to thank everybody from all over this gaming diaspora that we find ourselves discoursing in, because we can joke all we want. It was PlayStation and Xbox guys that came out to support this thing, and I genuinely thank you. And it gives me the fuel to keep going, and we just want to move from the next win to the next win until we are debuting on Netflix or the Mouse House comes and acquires me.
I love it.
Acquires him.
That's what they do. They buy people now. I
They
don't know
buy
if you know
people.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were for
Yes.
sale. All right.
Hunting.
bro.
I'm
Damn,
not.
you
I'm
buy
not.
me.
I'm not.
Go right
But
ahead.
If they offer me the same $4 billion that they gave George Lucas,
Oh, yeah,
maybe
You're
we
in.
can have a
for
conversation.
sure, for sure. Yeah, you know.
Well,
It's-
listen,
But thank you again and again. The link is in the chat. I'll put it in there one more time. Check it out and tell me if it doesn't sell you on the whole series if you're not familiar with it. But please subscribe to Everborn Saga on YouTube, because I can't take this man. He seems nice on air, but then he calls me afterwards and tells me how he has more followers than me. Don't
FBS,
trust
but continue.
beer. That's all I'm saying.
for Asante. But listen, folks, first of all, thank you to the panel. But big shout out to the 300 people. Want to thank everyone that dropped super chats. Those are used. We turn those around after YouTube takes their 30%, and it funds our big giveaways. And we have one ginormous one coming for December, Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boom. This one is going to be worth at least $500, and we're looking to try and double that. But that the only time will tell. It is going to be a bunch of physical and digital prizes. It's something that we've been doing every year, and specifically, we went really we went a little crazy last year because there was a lot of people were in some trouble, and we wanted to try and pass, how fortunate we are to, paying it forward. So we're going to try and do that again this year. And all you got to do is be subscribed to the channel. And obviously, if you drop super chats, you get extra entries. And if you're a channel member, you get extra entries. And we've seen a lot of people win that are doing those things just recently. Of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.